Playing the Houston Astros for the first time this season. It's going to be right-hander J.R. Richard for the Astros, and Larry Christensen will be going for the Phillies. It's raining at the ballpark right at the moment, but the weatherman says it's going to clear up. My guest on our pregame show is Houston manager Billy Verdon, and Billy, in spring training, both Sparky Anderson and Tom Lasorda said if they didn't win National League West, Houston would win it. Now, it looks to me like they've put you on a pretty good spot.
Well, I feel like we got a pretty good club. I don't know that we can win a pennant or not this year, but because we have a young pitching staff, and whether they've come far enough along to really keep us in contention, I'm not sure, but I do feel like our club's fairly sound. You wouldn't know it up to this point because we really haven't played well. We haven't had any part of the game that's gone like we had hoped to. Pitching's been shaky, it's been wild. Defense has not been good, and we haven't got any hits in the clutch. So you put those three things together, why we're probably lucky we won 10 games.
Did your team have a good spring training, Bill?
As good as I expected. We finished, I think, a game or two over 500 and played what I thought was up to our potential during spring training. I really am not concerned about spring. I think the moves in and out, if you finish 500, well, you've got the job done.
Of course, you have a rough start in that if I recall, you played about 7 out of your first dozen games against Cincinnati, and then you caught the Dodgers. Now that's a pretty tough way to start the season.
Well, we did. We started the first 14 out of the 16 games were with Cincinnati and L.A. And after we lost the first 5, of course, that looked like it was going to be disastrous. But we kind of come out of that with our heads above water. We ended up, I think. I got to stop and think. 2, 4, 5, 5 and 7, 5 and 9. I think out of the 14 games after losing the first 5. So really, that was really no indication, and didn't make any real indent in our plans of winning a pennant. And I really think probably it might have been good that we played those clubs. Now you got an idea of what you have to do to win and compete. And unfortunately, after we played those, we haven't played well since then, and we really haven't held our own.
You've played the Dodgers and Cincinnati both. Who do you like between those two if your own club can't handle it?
Well, I think a little bit depends on what happens with Bonham. If he's got a sore arm and can't pitch the rest of the season, and Seaver continues to have trouble, why Cincinnati's going to have trouble. A lot of it depends on pitching. If their pitching's not good, LA's going to win. I think Cincinnati's got the best club on the field. I think their club's hard to beat of the 8 people they put on the field every day. But pitching is really the name of the game, and I think if you don't have it, you're going to have trouble.
We're talking to Houston manager Billy Verdon. Billy, tell me about your ball club. Many new faces. You mentioned, I know you have young pitching, but have you changed your roster much?
Not too much. We've changed our extra men to some extent. We got a different bench. I think we got a little more speed involved this year, and I think we got some younger players coming off the bench, and up to this point have done a good job. And if you're talking about specifics, Walling is a youngster, young left-hand hitter. Bergman's a young left-hand hitter, first baseman. Walling an outfielder. Sexton a young shortstop. All of them have halfway decent speed and can play positions. Bergman outfield and first base. Walling any 3 outfield positions. Sexton shortstop, second baseman, third base if you had to have him. Jesus Alou, who is I think going to help us a great deal, pinch hitting in the clutch and against good right-hand pitching. Of course, we have Herman, who we had last year as a second catcher, and I'm missing someone, Wilbur Howard, who has really done a tremendous job coming off the bench up to this point. So I really think we're stronger along those lines. We're stronger as far as speed is concerned, and of course our pitching has more depth than it had last year.
Last year at this time, Bob Watson was struggling, wasn't doing much for you, but it looks like he's off to a pretty good start. He has to make a difference. Now, how is Watson doing? Are you satisfied with Watson and Cedeno? They're your 2 big guns.
Well, Watson's been halfway consistent. Cesar has been up and down. He had a couple good streaks, and he's had a couple bad streaks. But they both have been better this early in the season than in comparison to what they were last year. I hope it goes ahead and continues to get better as we go along, because they're both capable of doing better than they have up to this point. I think the one thing we've lacked as far as hitting is concerned is not so much the hits, it's is getting the clutch hits in key situations, putting the game getting us to the point where we're ahead far enough to where we don't have a problem with pitching, or getting us back in the game. We haven't been able to do that.
Talking to Houston manager Bill Verdon, and I'll be back in just a moment.
We want to be your favorite store. We want to be. Wilco wants to be your favorite store.
Mother's Day is this Sunday, May 14th, and Wilco offers a great gift idea for the busy mother. It's the Rival 3.5-quart crock-pot slow cooker server. The ideal gift is priced at only $17.88 this week at Wilco. The crock-pot slow cooker server has a distinctive steel case that recreates the look of thick speckled stoneware. The stoneware bowl comes right out for convenient serving and quick washing. All day cooking without looking, just what a busy mom needs. Prepares juicy, nutritious roasts and more. Economy meats come out tender. The crock pot cooked for 10 hours for about a nickel and comes complete with a cookbook, all for $17.88 at Wilco, the Rival crock pot.
We want to be your favorite store. We want to be your favorite store.
Talking to Bill Verdon. Bill, very quickly, who owns the Houston Ball Club at this point? And does it make any difference in the way you can handle a club?
Well, the owners at this point are 50-50 Ford Credit Company and GE Credit Companies. That all come about by them buying Hoffines out a year and a half ago or so. And really, I think the club's in good hands at this point. And as far as running the ball club, Tal Smith is really the boss and the president of the company or president of the baseball operation. And he is in charge of that, and of course I work for him. And really, Ford Credit and GE Credit does not interfere with our operation.
Okay, Bill Verdon, our guest, and for visiting with us, Bill will receive a beautiful Seiko watch from the Seiko Collection and Gimbals. The Phillies in Houston playing baseball. J.R. Richard going for Houston. Larry Christensen for the Phillies. Stay tuned for our ball game coming up shortly.
You've been listening to the Philadelphia Phillies pregame show, brought to you by Safeguard Mutual Insurance. At Safeguard, you deal directly with the company. And by Woolco Department Stores, which feature Norelco and Rival appliances all this week for Mother's Day.
When baseball season opens, it's motorcycle season. And right now, you can get on the winning team at Montgomeryville Honda Suzuki. They've got fantastic deals on the fast ones, the new lightweight, fast-moving Suzuki GS Series. And if you're looking for a Honda, you'll find the best buys in the Delaware Valley on new GL 1000s, 750Ks, and the all-new Honda Hawks. You owe it to yourself to scout the prices on these new Hondas at Montgomeryville Honda Suzuki. The Montgomeryville team has a full lineup of bikes for you to test ride before you buy. Warm up with Suzuki's new GS 1000, the precision-engineered motorcycle of the year, and find out what a star really is. And this season, don't get left out in the dugout. Stop in at Montgomeryville Honda Suzuki's accessory department. They've got all the newest accessories in stock for Honda, Suzuki, Yamaha, and Kawasaki. So bring home a winning season. Stop in at Montgomeryville Honda Suzuki today and get on the winning team. Montgomeryville Honda Suzuki, Route 309 Montgomeryville, just south of Montgomery Mall. Open daily 9 to 9, Saturdays 9 to 5.
KYW News Time, 7:29. While waiting for this first meeting between the Phils and the Astros tonight down at the vet. Remember, right across the street, the Flyers will be trying to get even with the Boston Bruins. They're down 2-1 in games. And that eastbound Schuylkill Expressway can be expected to be jammed for the next little while. Slow traffic, of course, because of Phillies fans and Flyers fans traveling to the South Philadelphia Sports Complex. One game going in the National League at the end of 6.5 innings. The Expos and the Braves tied up 1-1 down in Atlanta. We've already had one rain out in the American League. Down in Baltimore, the White Sox and the Orioles rained out. Forward rookie Walter Davis of the Phoenix Suns has been named the NBA Rookie of the Year in balloting by sports writers and sportscasters. The former North Carolina star, the fifth player picked in the 1977 draft, had a big margin over Marcus Johnson of the Milwaukee Bucks. The 6'6" Davis averaged just over 24 points a game, and he ranked 10th among scorers and was the top rookie scorer. This is KYW 1060 Philadelphia News Radio in the Delaware Valley. KYW News Time 7:30.
Have you caught the Phillies?
Phillies baseball is brought to you by Tasty Cake, whose cakes, pies, and cookies give you over 30 delicious ways to take a tasty break. Tasty Cake, all the good things wrapped up in one. And by your local Chrysler Plymouth dealer, where you get Grand Slam deals on the most complete lineup of new cars in your area. By MAB Paints for the best in paint and painting advice. Think of MAB and the more than 300 MAB paint stores, dealers, and Rich Lux home centers. And by Girard Bank, where George lets you be the banker night and day, every day. By the people in your town who bottled Coca-Cola from the top of the first to the very last out. Coke adds life to baseball enjoyment. And by Acme Super Saver Markets, home of super savings every day. You're going to like it here at Acme Super Saver. By Champion Spark Plugs. Treat your car to a fresh set of Champions. They're the world's #1 seller, and you can't buy a better plug than Champion.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Veterans Stadium, where tonight the Phillies will play the Houston Astros in what now turns out to be an abbreviated 2-game series. I'm Andy Musser with Harry Callis and Rich Ashburn. The sound of the Zambonis in the background is not bad news. It's actually good news. It means we're going to be playing baseball here, and they have announced the starting time as 7:45. So we'll have a chance to talk about the pitchers who tonight will be hard-throwing J.R. Richard for the Astros and Larry Christensen for the Phillies. Rich?
That's right, Andy. There will be a lot of fastballs thrown here tonight. The rains, incidentally, have stopped completely, and the sun is out at the ballpark right now, and it appears that the rains, according to our weather report, are over for the evening, so we will be playing baseball, and we're going to have a fairly decent crowd on hand. J.R. Richard has won a couple of ball games. His earned run average is a little high, a little over 5 at this point, but he is one of the best pitchers, one of the best right-handers in baseball, a big, hard-throwing right-hander. And, of course, Larry Christensen has also won a couple of games. Larry's also lost 2. His earned run average is a little over 4 at this point. Both teams rained out here last night with a day off, and both itching to get back in action. The Houston Astros have come back a little bit from a pretty tough start. I believe manager Bill Verdon said before the game that Houston played 14 out of their first 16 games against Cincinnati and the Dodgers, and they didn't do all that well. They actually lost the first 5 in a row to Cincinnati, but according to Verdon, the team has bounced back. They have recovered. He has a young pitching staff, and they are hoping to get back into contention. They're 5.5 games back now, which isn't actually that many at this point. Bill Verdon claiming that he does have a contender. In fact, the managers, Tommy Lasorda of the Dodgers and Sparky Anderson of the Cincinnati Reds, both said in spring training that if their teams then win the National League West Division, they thought Houston might do it. Houston does have some outstanding players. They have Cesar Cedeno, who's off to a pretty decent start. Bob Watson, who was struggling, trying to get going a year ago, is hitting right at .295 now. He's hitting some home runs and knocking in some runs along the way. They have quite a few young players on the ball club. Enos Cabell at third base in his 3rd season. Looks like he's going to be a good one. Their catching is solid with Joe Ferguson behind the plate, backed up by Ed Herman, the second catcher. So this club is going to cause a lot of trouble for ball clubs before the season is over.
Well, Rich, the lights have been turned on here at Veterans Stadium, but as you said, the sun is out, and we are led to believe that the rain for the evening is behind us now. Neither team was able to take hitting or infield practice now. Only half the tarp has been removed from the field. I think you can hear the Zambonis in the background, I'm sure, and I believe they will be working right up until game time. So we'll have some balls scooting around here tonight, but on the half of the infield where the tarp has been removed, we can see that the infield for the most part is dry. So we should have normal play in the infield tonight, and we should have those balls zipping through in the outfield like they often do when it gets wet here at Veterans Stadium. So they've announced the starting time for this ball game at 7:45, which isn't really that far from now. It's only about 10 minutes away as I glance up at the clock here in our booth. So we'll be back to give you tonight's starting lineups right after we pause for these messages.
Whenever it's time for the great game of baseball, when do you say? tells the players to play ball. After a double play, a pitch hit that saves the day. Anytime's the right time to say it. When do you say Budweiser? Lots of beer for any time at all. After a long home run, after the game is won, King of Beers is waiting for your call. When you say Budweiser, when you say yay, baseball, when you say Budweiser, you say it all. You say it all.
Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis.
The cat is really on the prowl at your Lincoln Mercury dealers. He wants these dealers to sell every Mercury in stock. Every one. That includes the anniversary edition four-door Mercury Marquis with its traditional full-size luxury and comfort, plus a special value package featuring a vinyl roof, luxury wheel covers, body side moldings, flight bench seat, and more. Right now, this special package is being offered by Lincoln Mercury to its dealers at a factory discount. So check out your local Lincoln Mercury dealer now. At the sign of the cat.
Gary, I feel like a salad. Let's go to Gino's.
Salad at Gino's?
Sure, you make it yourself.
This I gotta see. Yep, Gino's Salad Bar. All the crisp, fresh, delicious salad you can eat. Salad created by the world's greatest salad chef, you. Gino's Salad Bar has all sorts of greens, tomatoes, chickpeas, croutons, bacon bits, and 6 different dressings. So come on, come to Gino's and feel good. Hey, I'm feeling good.
Feeling good. Feeling good. Feeling good. At Gino's.
The Phillies and the Houston Astros will be playing baseball here shortly. The Zambonis continuing to work, the other half of the infield tarp being taken off. Home plate is being opened up right now. They will have to line off the plate area, and we should be getting underway at about 7:45. Let's take a look at the way the Astros will line up for this ball game. And, of course, this is the first time the Phillies have faced Houston this year. Last year, the Astros did not win a single ball game in this park. The Astros, in fact, have had their problems here recently. In the last couple of years, they have lost 15 of the last 16 games they have played here in Veterans Stadium. Leading off for Houston, playing in left field, Terry Poole, P-U-H-L. Terry Poole will play left. Batting second, the third baseman, Enos Cabell. Batting third in center field, Cesar Cedeno, and he's off to a far better start than he was a year ago. Cesar comes into this ball game batting at .277. Last year, an extremely slow start for Cedeno. He hit only .179 through the 24th of June, and then he really started blossoming the rest of the year, and he finished with a .279 batting average. Batting cleanup for the Astros and playing in right field, Jose Cruz. Batting fifth, their first baseman, Bob Watson. Batting sixth at second base, Art Howe. Batting seventh, the catcher, Joe Ferguson. Batting eighth, the shortstop, Roger Metzger. And batting ninth, right-handed pitcher, J.R. Richard. He has won only one game this year. It was a two-hitter over the Dodgers. He has lost 3 times. Now the Phillies will line up as follows. Leading off in right field, Bake McBride. Batting second, the shortstop, Larry Boa. Batting third, the third baseman, Mike Schmidt. Batting fourth in left field, Greg Luzinski. Batting fifth, first baseman Richie Hebner. Batting sixth, the center fielder Gary Maddox. Batting seventh and catching Bob Boone. Batting eighth, rookie second baseman Jim Morrison. And batting ninth, Larry Christensen. Christensen is 2-2 so far this year and a 4.34 earned run average. Incidentally, we might see some hitting out of the pitchers tonight. Both Christensen and J.R. Richard hit 3 home runs each last year. 2 of the 4 National League pitchers to accomplish that last season. Well, let's take a look at the baseball scoreboard right now. There's a doubleheader being played in Atlanta tonight. The first game is in the 9th inning, with Montreal leading the Braves 2-1 at the end of 8. The Braves picked up a single run in the second, and that held up as the only run in the game until the 7th, when Montreal tied it. And then the Expos went ahead in the 8th inning on Andre Dawson's 6th home run of the year. Steve Rogers started that game for Montreal, but Bill Atkinson is now pitching in relief. And Dick Ruthven began the game for Atlanta, but they've had a series of relievers, and now Chopper Campbell is in there pitching in the 9th inning. As we say, that is the first end of a doubleheader. Elsewhere in the National League tonight, New York will again play at Cincinnati. The Mets knocked off the Reds last night. Chicago will play at San Diego, St. Louis at Los Angeles, and Pittsburgh at San Francisco. In the American League, one game has been postponed. Chicago at Baltimore has been postponed because of wet grounds. Elsewhere, Oakland will play at Toronto. Pete Broberg will pitch for the A's, and Tommy Underwood will go for Toronto. Kansas City at Boston. Jim Colburn 1-1 for the Royals, and Dennis Eckersley 1-1 for the Red Sox. Other games: Seattle at Cleveland, Minnesota at New York, California at Detroit, Texas at Milwaukee, and the pitchers are not yet up for those ball games. Just a reminder that this broadcast is authorized under broadcasting rights granted by the Phillies solely for the entertainment of our listening audience. Any publication, rebroadcast, or other use of the description and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Phillies is prohibited. The announcers on this broadcast are retained by WPHL-TV, subject to the approval of the Phillies. Now you can win even more money in the Daily News Home Run Payoff, because this season every hit pays off. Tonight's payoff inning will be the 3rd. The umpires for tonight's game: Dick Stello has the plate, Bruce Fremming at first base, Eric Gregg at second, and Billy Williams at third. During tonight's Phillies game, each Philly that homers receives a free case of Tasty Cake and one for Shriners Hospital for Crippled Children. And the same goes for the Phillies' winning pitcher. Well, the Phillies, who had not been rained out for 2 straight seasons, have now been postponed at home twice so far this year. And last night's rainout has been rescheduled as part of a twilight doubleheader for Friday, July 21st. The twin bill to start at 5:35. Friday, July 21, the Astros will be in town to play the Phillies in a doubleheader. From June 23rd until September 4th, the Phillies have 10 doubleheaders scheduled this year in 74 days. So they're going to need quite a few different pitchers to work all those doubleheaders during that time. Speaking of schedule changes, we'd like to also remind you that the Saturday, June 3rd game between the Phillies and the Dodgers here at the Vet has been changed to a 2:15 start. For national television purposes, it was scheduled to start at 7:35, and your tickets will say 7:35. But on Saturday, June 3rd, the Phillies and the Dodgers will start here at Veterans Stadium at 2:15 in the afternoon. Well, right now they are continuing the manicuring process of Veterans Stadium. The tarp has been entirely removed. The Zambonis are working in the outfield. Larry Christensen, who will pitch for the Phillies, is taking his warm-up tosses down in front of the Phillies dugout. And J.R. Richard is just beginning to warm up in the Astro bullpen down the left field line. We have a pretty decent crowd considering all the rain that we've had here in the area today. The weather forecast, however, is for continual improvement. This ball game should not be delayed by any rain showers this evening. And according to the forecast that I was hearing on various stations around town all day long, indicates that the weather tomorrow is going to be very, very nice, and the Phillies should have a good evening for baseball here tomorrow when this series concludes. Now, of course, the Cincinnati Reds are coming in on the tail of the Houston Astros for a big 4-game series. 4 games against the Phillies and the Reds this weekend, and that will begin with the pitching classic, Steve Carlton and Tom Seaver, here on Thursday night. The pitchers have also been announced for the remainder of that series, and there's one interesting note here. Bill Bonham is going to get his first start in a long time Friday night as he goes for the Reds against Randy Lurch. Bonham is 3-0 this year, but he was injured on April 21st after completing a victory over the Dodgers, and he has not taken the mound for the Reds since that time. On Saturday night at 7:35, Jim Cott is going to square off against Freddie Norman, who is undefeated. Though the Reds lost Norman's start last night, he was not the losing pitcher. And on Sunday afternoon, Larry Christensen will go for the Phillies against Tom Hume. And that'll be your last chance to see the Phillies for quite a while. They will be heading out on a 4-city, 2-week road trip following this series against Houston and then the one with Cincinnati. So we'll be looking for you to make a couple of appearances here at the Vet during this homestand. Well, it's 7:45, and I think our ball game is going to be delayed just a few more minutes. And They will be lining out the home plate area and will be getting underway shortly. Rich, in the meantime, we might talk about these double headers that are piling up for the Phillies. The Phillies currently going with a 9-man pitching staff. I wonder whether when the double headers really pile up, they're going to have to make an adjustment in that.
Well, it will be a strain on the pitchers. Phillies do have a string of consecutive games where it's going to be a long time before they get a day off. I think the thing that takes a little pressure off the pitching staff is the fact that the Phillies have those 4 guys in the bullpen, Garber, McGraw, Brewster, and Reed, who can pitch very often, and when they come in, they all do a great job. Phillies really don't need another starting pitcher. They need a pitcher that can go maybe 5 or 6 innings, and then you get him out there and get the bullpen in the ball game. And as long as those 4 arms in the bullpen are healthy, that takes a little of the pressure off the starting pitchers. But doubleheaders are going to be popping up a little bit. Phillies have lost a couple of games here at Veterans Stadium, which is unusual. I think we went almost 2 years without having a game rained out. I think as it now stands, the Phillies are slated to play about 14 or 15 doubleheaders, which is quite a few for this ball club. They don't get involved in many scheduled doubleheaders. Only ones generally are the ones you make up because of rainouts, and the ones that you rained out on the road, of course. Well, we have blue skies above us. The sun is out, and we're going to have a very pleasant night for a ball game. And we understand that the weather is going to hold good right on through the weekend. So the Western teams will be in here, Houston now tonight and tomorrow night, and Cincinnati for that big 4-game series starting on Thursday night. The Phillies have a 1-game lead in National League East. The Cincinnati Reds are 1 game behind the Dodgers in National League West. We ought to really see some good baseball around here in the next few days. And Andy mentioned the long road trip coming up. It is a long one and certainly a crucial one. I think it's better to have long road trips, though, early in the season before the hot weather really hits. When you start taking 2-week road trips, 15, 16-day road trips in July and August, that can be a little tedious on a ball club.
Right, Rich, I remember 2 years ago the Phillies had an 18-day road trip, and it was late in the season, and it was on that road trip that the large lead that the Phillies had in '76 began disappearing. Well, we don't often have a chance to talk about some of the Phillies' farm products, but we do have a couple of minutes here before the start of this ball game, and Oklahoma City has an 8-12 record right now, and the 89ers lost a doubleheader to Evansville last night. They lost 1 game behind Dan Worthen, and the other game behind Dan Boitano. So Oklahoma City with an 8-12 record at this juncture right now. Well, the ground crew right now is working at the home plate area, lining in the batter's boxes and painting up the home plate. Some of the water that remains around to the edge of this field is being squeegeed aside, and we're only moments away from playing this ball game. The Phillies and the Astros rained out yesterday, and it's been a very, very strange road trip for Houston. They were rained out a game in Atlanta over the weekend, and they have a scheduled off day on Thursday, so they really haven't been getting much activity at all, although the Phillies still, at this moment, remain the least active team in baseball. The Phillies with 22 games played, the lowest in the major leagues. The Cleveland Indians have played only 23 ball games. But the Phillies have done a good job, winning 14 and losing 8 so far, and it certainly is better than the Phillies had done last year at this time. After 23 games a year ago, the Phillies were 11-12. They were in 5th place in the National League East, and they were 5 games out of first. So things off to a much better start this year. Well, the umpires have made their appearance behind home plate. Our Philly fanatic is out down there. He's been entertaining the fans and getting on the opposition just like he always does. And our ball game between the Phillies and the Houston Astros will be getting underway shortly. We have some more pitchers up for you now in the Seattle-Cleveland game. Byron McLaughlin will pitch for Seattle tonight, and Don Hood will be going for the Indians. We have not yet received a final in that first game of the doubleheader from Atlanta, but Montreal leading that ball game 2-1 at the end of 8 innings. Atkinson pitching in relief for the Expos, and Campbell pitching in relief for Atlanta. And the run that has Montreal ahead at the moment is Andre Dawson's 6th home run. It came in the 8th inning with nobody on. So the Braves had a 1-0 lead in that ball game. The Expos tied it in the 7th and have gone ahead by a run in the 8th inning. Well, the lineups are being exchanged at home plate right now. Captain Mike Schmidt representing the Phillies, manager Bill Verdon there for the Houston Astros. And quickly, let's once again go through the Astro lineup in case you missed it when we gave it to you about 15 minutes ago. Terry Puhl leads off and plays in left field. Terry Puhl in left. Enos Cabell batting second at third. Cesar Cedeno in center. Batting cleanup and playing in right field, Jose Cruz. Batting fifth, the first baseman Bob Watson. Batting sixth, the second baseman Art Howe. Batting seventh and catching Joe Ferguson. Batting eighth, the shortstop Roger Metzger. And batting ninth, right-handed pitcher J.R. Richard. For the Phillies, their normal lineup, leading off and playing right field, Bake McBride. Batting second, the shortstop Larry Boa. Batting third at third base, Mike Schmidt. Batting fourth in left field, Greg Luzinski. Batting fifth, first baseman Richie Hebner. Batting sixth in center field, Gary Maddox. Batting seventh and catching Bob Boone. Batting eighth, second baseman Jim Morrison. And batting ninth, right-handed pitcher Larry Christensen. Christensen has a 3-4 lifetime record against Houston. In Larry's last start, he lost to Fred Norman at Cincinnati, and it's been over a week now. That game, of course, was last Wednesday night in Cincinnati. Well, that isn't quite a week. It's a day under a week, but Christensen lost that ball game by pitching only 1 2/3 innings, giving up 7 hits and 7 runs while he was out there, as the Phillies and the Reds split wide margin ball games. Larry had won his start before that, tying a career high with 8 strikeouts and beating San Diego and Bob Ochinko. Now we rise for our national anthem. The Phillies are now taking the field here at Veterans Stadium. Larry Christensen heading for the mound, and we'll be underway here in just a moment. The umpires for tonight's game, Dick Stello calling balls and strikes, Bruce Fremming at first, Eric Gregg at second, and Billy Williams at third base. We don't have any other National League action underway with the exception of that first game of the doubleheader at Atlanta, with Montreal leading 2-1 at the end of 8 innings. Later on tonight, New York will be playing at Cincinnati. The Mets broke their losing streak by defeating the Reds last night in an extra inning game. Chicago will open a series at San Diego. St. Louis will be taking on the Dodgers in Los Angeles. And Pittsburgh is opening a series at San Francisco. The American League action, for the most part, is in the East and the Midwest, with Oakland playing at Toronto, Pete Broberg against Tommy Underwood, Kansas City at Boston, Jim Colburn against Dennis Eckersley, Seattle at Cleveland, Brian McLaughlin against Don Hood. Minnesota will be at New York, California at Detroit, Texas at Milwaukee, and the Chicago-Baltimore game in Baltimore has been postponed because of wet grounds. This series now down to a 2-game affair, with last night's rainout having been rescheduled for July 21st. So the Phillies and the Astros will play just 2 games in this series, and Jim Lonborg will work tomorrow night's game against Mark Lamangello, right-hander who is only 22 years of age, who has never beaten the Phillies. In fact, the Phillies have defeated Lamangello twice. So that'll be the matchup tomorrow night. Lonborg and Lamangello when the Phils and the Astros hook up at 7:35 again tomorrow night. Well, our long delay is over with, and the ball game is about ready to start. And here for play-by-play action, Harry Callis.
All right, thank you, Andy. Good evening, everyone. Terry Poole leads off for the Houston Astros, a left-hand hitter, batting at .271. He spells his last name P-U-H-L. Just 21 years old, he comes out of Canada. Larry Christensen winds, and the first pitch of the ball game is outside and high for a ball, 1-0 to Poole. Poole hit .301 in his rookie year last year in 60 games for Houston. The pitch to him is over on the outside corner for a strike called. It's 1-1. Ball and a strike to Terry Poole. 1-1 pitch. Swing and a line drive left field. Luzinski is there. Gregg makes the catch, and Poole is out, 1 down. That'll bring up Enos Cabell, the third baseman. Cabell is batting .265. He hit .282 last year and stole 42 bases. Houston has a running team. Cabell stole 42 last year. Cesar Cedeno set a club record with 61. Jose Cruz stole 44. Here's the pitch to Cabell. A fastball is over for a strike call. Cabell last year off Christensen was 9 for 15. 1 strike pitch. Swing and a miss. Good fastball. Christensen in front of him, 0-2. Christensen defeated Houston 3 times last year and lost once. The 2 strike pitch. Swing and a foul ball straight back. Stays 0-2 to Enos Cabell. Lifetime against the Astros. Larry has won 7, lost 3. The 2 strike pitch on the way. Checked his swing on a breaking ball. It's low, and it's a ball and 2 strikes. 1 out, nobody on base. Top of the first. Ball game just underway. 1-2 pitch. Late swing and a foul back. Almost hit that one out of catcher Bob Boone's glove. A ball and 2 strikes to Enos Cabell. Larry Christensen's 1-2 pitch. Swing and a little bat handle pop up right to Richie Hebner, and he makes the play. Cabell really got jammed. A little bat handle pop up to Hebner, 2 down. That'll bring on Cesar Cedeno. Cedeno is hitting .277. Hit 3 homers, knocked in 11 runs. Cedeno last year finished at the .279 mark, which was remarkable because he was hitting 179 as late as June 22nd. He had a torrid month of September when he hit .409. Was the National League Player of the Month for the month of September. Christensen's pitch to Cedeno is high for a ball. Cedeno was not a Gold Glove winner last year, despite the fact that he committed only 1 error all season. He had won 5 previous Gold Gloves. Swing and a line shot to deep left center field, and this ball is out of here. Home run, Cesar Cedeno over the 371-foot mark. Houston takes a 1-0 lead on Cedeno's 4th homer of the year.
That's what you call a hanging slider, and it was right over the heart of the plate. Cedeno certainly saw it and didn't miss it. Went out of here like a bullet.
So the Astros are on the board, 1-0. That'll bring on Jose Cruz, the right fielder. Cruz is batting .299. Pitch to him. Swing. He had a cut at a fastball, and he fouls it back. 1 strike to Cruz. Cruz had a fine year for Houston last year, hitting .299. 14 home runs. A pitch to him. Change and a swing and a miss. Cruz got well out in front of a changeup. 0-2 to him. Here's the 2-strike pitch. Breaking ball. Bounced softly up the middle. Boa on the first base side of second. Throws him out. Good play by Larry Boa. Actually gloved it on the first base side of second base and threw out Jose Cruz. Houston gets a run on 1 hit. Cedeno's homer. No errors and none left, and after 1/2, it's Houston 1. Phil's coming to bat. Bottom half of the first inning. Let's pause for station identification. This is the Phillies Baseball Network.
At 8:02, this is KYW Philadelphia. AccuWeather says a severe thunderstorm watch is in effect for parts of our area until 9 p.m. tonight. It's 63 degrees and partly cloudy at Independence Mall.
Well, the Phillies tonight facing the big, hard-throwing right-hander J.R. Richard. J.R. is standing for James Rodney. Richard is 1-1, lost 3, has a high earned run mark of 5.68. But he leads the National League in strikeouts with 46. Last year, he was 1-0 against the Phils, lifetime 3-4. A guy with a good live fastball, and his key pitch is a sharp-breaking slider. Richard won 18, lost 12 last season, fashioned a fine earned run mark of 2.97, and his 214 strikeouts, second in the league. The pace-setting Phil Negro punched out 262. Richard stands 6'8", weighs 237 pounds.
These pitchers, Richards and Christensen, got wrapped around in their last starts. Really, the only start Christensen has had where he didn't pitch well, that was against Cincinnati. Phillies did make a couple of bad plays behind him that cost him some runs. Richard got lit up in Montreal. That Montreal club is banging a lot of pitchers around this season.
Montreal leading Atlanta, game one of their doubleheader, 2-1. They're in the ninth inning. Bake McBride leads off for the Phils. Bake batting .270. McBride has hit safely in the last 6 games, and during that span has hit at a .444 clip, boosting his batting average 100 points from 170 to 270. Lifetime, he has hit well against Houston. Lifetime Major League batting average against Houston of .347. Pitch to Bake is high for a ball. Richard will strike out a lot of people. He'll also walk a lot of people. He has 46 strikeouts, 27 walks. Here's the 1-0 pitch to Bake. Swing and a miss at a breaking ball. Ball on a strike to count to Bake McBride. He'll be followed by Larry Boa, then Mike Schmidt. Bottom half of the first inning, Houston leading 1-0 on Cedeno's home run. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Fastball low for a ball. It's 2-1. J.R. Richard was a 20-game winner for Houston in 1976 when he was 20-15. Was voted the Astros' most valuable player that year. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. Good live fastball. 2-2 the count to Bake McBride. Bake leading off the Phillies half of the first. J.R. Richard gets his sign from Joe Ferguson. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Strike 3 called. He struck him out. McBride is called out on strikes. So Richard starts it out with a K. That'll bring up Larry Boa. Boa hitting .316. Larry has been hot. He's hit safely in the last 7 straight games. That's the Phillies' longest hitting streak of the year. Earlier, Mike Schmidt and Greg Luzinski had hit in 7 straight. 1 out, nobody on base. Here's Richard's pitch to Boa. Fastball is over for a strike called. Enos Cabell at third base plays Larry shallow. Richards' 1 strike pitch. Slow for a ball and the strike to count to Boa. Houston here again tomorrow night. Jim Lomborg against Mark Lemongello. And Cincinnati will move in on Thursday. 4 games set against the Reds. 1-1 pitch. Swing and a ground ball. Tapped to deep short. Metzger a long throw. Not in time. Infield single. Larry Boa. Boa hit it to deep short. Metzger did all he could, but Boa beat it out easily, and he has now hit safely in 8 straight.
That's all Boa has to do is make an infielder move a few steps, and he's going to make a play very close. He beat that play at first easily. He was about a step by the bag.
That'll bring on Mike Schmidt. Schmidt hitting .326. Leads the National League in runs scored with 25. Boa at first base. Here's a stretch by Richard. And the pitch to Schmidt is a fastball high for a ball. 1-0 to Schmidt. Mike has 5 home runs, and he has knocked in 17 runs. Larry Boa, runner at first base. Boa has stolen 5 bases. He has been caught once. And a balk has been called on J.R. Richard. Richard called for a balk, so Boa moves up to second on the board.
A lot of balks called. Most of these pitchers, the balks are being called because they don't step towards first. They step towards first, but it's generally after they throw the ball. Well, you're supposed to step over there before you throw the ball.
Bo at second base and one down. The 1-0 pitch to Schmidt, a fastball high, and it's 2-0. Phillies last year against Houston were 8-4, winning all 6 games here at Veterans Stadium. Bo at second base, one down. Big J.R. Richards stretches. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Low and inside, ball 3. 3-0 the count to Schmidt. Mike looking down at Bill DeMars to see if he can swing. Bo at second base and one out. Stretch by Richard. 3-0 pitch. Over for a strike called. 3-1 the count to Mike Schmidt. Houston their pitching staff has been hurt with bases on balls. Their staff has given up quite a few walks. Richard stretches. 3-1 pitch to Schmidt, swing and a ground foul back behind the plate. Might have chased ball 4. The pitch looked low and into him. Full count to Mike Schmidt. He'll be followed by Greg Luzinski. Larry Boa second base, an infield single, moved to second on a balk, one out. Big J.R. Richard. His one win, a 2-hit shutout over the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now time is called as Schmidt steps out of the batter's box. Full count to Mike Schmidt with one out. Here's J.R.'s stretch. And he steps off as Art Howe, the second baseman, tries to sneak in behind Larry Boa. No throw. Houston leading 1-0, bottom half of the first. Cesar Cedeno homered in the top half. There's a stretch by Richard. 3-2 pitch. Strike 3 called, struck him out. A good breaking ball on the outside corner. Schmidt called out on strikes.
Caught Schmidt looking for a fastball, and J.R. broke off a beautiful slider.
Weekend against the New York Mets. Knocked in 10 runs in the 3-game series. Greg leads the Phils and runs batted in with 18. Here's the pitch to Luzinski, and it's a slider that misses high for a ball. Greg is tied for second in the National League in home runs. Rick Monday leading with 9, followed by Greg Luzinski, John Bench, and Dave Winfield. They all have 6. Bo at second base and 2 outs. Stretch by Richard. 1-0 pitch to the ball is high for a ball. It's 2-0. That ball looks like a marble in J.R. Richards' hand. Two 2-0 the count to the ball with Bo at second base. Here's Richards' stretch. 2-0 pitch. Swing and a miss. 2 balls and a strike to Luzinski. Richard, when he won 20 in 1976, the second pitcher in Houston history to win 20 games. Larry Dierker had done it earlier. J.R. stretches. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Fastball that misses outside, and it's 3-1 to Luzinski. Richie Hebner waiting on deck. Game delayed at the outset, about 25 minutes because of the earlier showers that we have had, but cleared up very nicely. Now Richard ready. Here's his stretch. Look back at Boa. 3-1 pitch to Luzinski. Swing and a miss. Good fastball. Full count to Greg Luzinski. Larry Boa, second base, 2 down. Big J.R. Richard ready. Here's his stretch. And the 3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out with a fastball. So Richard strikes out the side. Boy, the Phillies, no runs ahead, no errors, and 1 left. And at the end of 1, it's Houston 1, Phils nothing, and now it's time for a tasty break. Again tomorrow night, it'll be Jim Lomborg against Mark Lemongello. Start time at 7:35. And then 3,000 hit Pete Rose, John Bench, Joe Morgan, George Foster, and all the Cincinnati Reds will be in for a big 4-game series starting on Thursday night. A great pitching matchup Thursday night. Steve Carlton and Tom Seaver. That'll be 7:35. Friday night at 8:05, Randy Lurch and Bill Bonham. Saturday night, 7:35, Jim Cott and Fred Norman. And on Sunday afternoon, it'll be Larry Christensen and Tom Hume. Free ladies' canvas tote bags, compliments of the Phillies and Tasty Cake for all women this Sunday. Bob Watson leads off for Houston's second inning. The pitch to him is fouled, backing out of play. Watson hit Christensen well last year. He was 6 for 13 off him, including a home run and 6 runs batted in. 1 strike pitch. Breaking ball is low, and it's 1-1. Watson hit .289 last year and set a Houston club record with 110 runs batted in. 1-1 pitch to him. Change and a big swing and a miss. Ball and 2 strikes to Bob Watson, who's hitting .295. Leads the Astros and runs batted in with 18, and he's hit 4 homers. 1-2 pitch. Swing and a line drive foul into the picnic area down the right field line. Remains a ball and 2 strikes to Watson. He'll be followed by Art Howe and then Joe Ferguson. 1-0 Houston, second inning. 1-2 pitch to Watson. Swing and a miss. He struck him out with a changeup. So Watson goes down swinging. First strikeout for Christensen. That's 1 down in the second. That'll bring on Art Howe. Howe, the second baseman, batting .295. He's hit 3 home runs and knocked in 8 runs. Houston's had kind of a tough trip. They have lost all 3 games on the road trip. They have been rained out 3 times, and they've also had 3 off days. Pitch on the way to Howe is low for a ball. 1-0 to Howe with 1 out. Christensen's 1-0 pitch. Fastball grounded to shortstop Larry Boa. He has it on a big hop, throws, and Howe is out, 2 down. That'll bring up the catcher, Joe Ferguson. Ferguson is batting .211, leads Houston in homers with 5. He has knocked in 12 runs. 2 outs, no base runners. Anniversary wishes tonight to Carl and Edna Newman, celebrating 44 years of marital bliss. Carl works here in the press box for the Phils. Pitches a called strike to Joe Ferguson, a fastball at the knees. 1 strike pitch to him. Swing and a fly ball right field. Bake McBride is right there, playing it perfectly in right center, puts it away. And Houston down quickly in the second. No runs, hits, or errors, and none left. The end of 1.5. It's Houston 1, Phils nothing. A luxury car ought to give you your money's worth of luxury. Now the first game at Atlanta is over, and the Atlanta Braves have defeated the Montreal Expos with 2 runs in the 9th inning, defeating Montreal 3-2. Chopper Campbell, the winner, and the loser was Bill Atkinson. Home runs of the game by Andre Dawson, his 6th of the season. So the Braves win the first end of a doubleheader with Montreal 3-2. Here's Rich Hebner to lead off for the Phillies' second inning. Hitting at .288, he's hit 2 homers, knocked in 11 runs. Big J.R. Richards struck out the side in the first inning. Larry Boa did pick up an infield single, but he punched out Bake McBride, Mike Schmidt, and Greg Luzinski. Here's the pitch to Hebner. Fastball over at the knees for a strike call. 1 strike to Hebner. He'll be followed by Gary Maddox and then Bob Boone. J.R.'s pitch, low for a ball, 1-1. J.R. only started 1 game against the Phils last year, and he won that one, defeating Steve Carlton 5-2 at the Astrodome. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Breaking ball is low, and it's 2-1 to Hebner. Houston leading 1-0, bottom of the second. Here's the 2-1 pitch to Rich Hebner. Fastball is low, and he falls behind him 3-1. Richard fell behind both Mike Schmidt and Greg Luzinski and came back to strike him out. He's behind Hebner here, 3-1. Wind up in the 3-1 pitch to Hebner, swinging a bouncing ball to Art Howe, the second baseman. He has it and throws. Hebner an easy out, 1 down. That'll bring up Gary Maddox. Maddox is hitting .292. 5 extra base hits. They have all been doubles, and he has knocked in 13 runs. 1 out, nobody on base in the second. Wind up by J.R. Richard, and the pitch to Maddox. Fastball that's low for a ball. 1-0 to Maddox. Richard winds. 1-0 pitch to Gary. Fastball is over for a strike called. It's 1-1. Here's the 1-1 pitch on the way to Maddox. Over for a strike called. A ball and 2 strikes to Gary. Houston figured to be an improved team this year and give a little competition to Cincinnati and Los Angeles in the West. Swing and a miss. Maddox chases a low breaking ball, and he struck him out. 4th strikeout for Richard. 2 down in the second. Richard is a strikeout pitcher. He tied with Steve Carlton for most strikeouts in a game last year. 14. Here's Bob Boone hitting at .286. Pitch to Boone. Fastball in the dirt for a ball. Follow no strikes to Bob Boone. Wind up by Richard. And the 1-0 pitch. Swing and a very high fly ball into shallow left field. Going out Metzger, coming in Poole. It's Poole, the left fielder, who makes the play. And the Phillies down in order in the second. No runs, hits, or errors, and none left. At the end of 2, it's Houston 1, Phils nothing. Now time for a tasty break. The Phillies have a great offer for all women. This Sunday, the Phils will be playing Pete Rose, Joe Morgan, George Foster, John Bench, and all the Cincinnati Reds. And as an added attraction, all women will receive a free canvas Phillies tote bag. Perfect for many occasions. That's a free Phillies canvas tote bag for all women this Sunday when the Phils take on the Cincinnati Reds. Game time 1:35. The end of 2, Houston leading the Phils 1-0. For more play-by-play in the third, here's Andy Musser.
Thank you, Harry. And Roger Metzger, the switch-hitting shortstop, will lead it off for the Astros. It'll be Metzger, Richard, and Poole to bat for Houston in the third. Metzger will bat from the left side. He carries a .217 average. He was out of the lineup almost all of last year with various injuries. Here is a hard-hit ball into left center field, and Maddox was not playing him very deep, but Gary scampers back and makes the catch. Metzger hit that ball pretty hard, but Maddox, playing in left center field, though shallow, got back to make the catch.
They played Metzger almost as though he were a dead right-hand pull hitter. He had a tremendous gap in right center field. But Maddox was playing him just right there.
Now the pitcher, J.R. Richard, who had 2 home runs last year, 1 against Atlanta and 1 at Montreal. Richard this year, 1 hit and 12 times up. Tall right-handed batter. Christensen winds, and the pitch is grounded on a high chop towards second. Morrison gets a big bounce and throws him out. Richard bounces out to second base for the second out of the inning, and Terry Poole will bat. Left-handed batting left fielder lined out to Greg Luzinski as the first batter in the ball game. Poole batting at .268. Well, the Mets have gotten a first-inning run tonight at Cincinnati, and they lead the Reds 1-0 as the Reds bat in the first. Jerry Koosman pitching for New York, and Tom Hume is going for Cincinnati. Terry Poole standing in. Christensen winds, and the first pitch is a fastball on the outside corner, a strike. Pitchers are up for that second game in Atlanta. Hal Dews will pitch for Montreal, and Phil Niekro will pitch for Atlanta. Christensen misses 1 ball and 1 strike. Larry winds, and the 1-1 pitch is just outside. 2 balls and a strike. Toronto leads Oakland 1-0 at the end of an inning and a half. Pete Broberg against Tommy Underwood. And here's a changeup that's just out of the strike zone. 3 balls and 1 strike to Terry Poole. Here's a fly ball to center field. Should be an easy play for Maddox. Slightly to his right. Gary grabs it. And Christensen has a 1-2-3 inning as the Astros go down in the third. At the end of 2.5, Houston 1, Phillies nothing. Home run payoff, the game that puts the Phillies at bat to win you big money. Last Sunday, a homer by the Bull won Denise Mosley of Wilmington $1,000, and tonight it could be your turn. And remember, fans, this season every hit pays off, and you can win anywhere from $20 up to 5,000 big ones, but you've got to play to win. Just use the entry coupon appearing every day in the Daily News so home run payoff can pay off for you. And leading off will be Jim Morrison. He'll be swinging away for Mac Dietz of North Broad Street in Philadelphia. Morrison, right-handed batter, hitting at .304, facing J.R. Richard, who has already chalked up 4 strikeouts in this ball game. J.R. has the sign from Ferguson. Here's his first pitch to Morrison. Low, ball 1. Morrison, Christensen, and McBride to bat for the Phillies in the third of the 3. Oddly enough, only the pitcher, Christensen, has homered this year. Here's a fastball up high. 2 balls and no strikes, the count on Morrison. Phillies have won 7 of their last 8 ball games, leading the National League East by 1. 2-0 pitch on the way to Morrison. He takes it low, ball 3. Three balls and no strikes on Jim Morrison, leading off the Phillies' third inning with the Astros ahead 1-0. And it's over at the knees for a strike. 3 balls and 1 strike to Jim Morrison. A lot of fans thought that was low. J.R. into the motion. Here's the 3-1 to Morrison. He takes it on the inside corner, a called strike. So J.R. gets 2 pitches over after dropping behind 3-0. And we've got a full count to Morrison. Richard winds. Here's the pitch. Fouled away. Morrison hanging in there. A full count to him. Batting for Mac Dietz of Philadelphia in the Daily News home run payoff. Reds did not score in the first. Mets lead that game 1-0 as they play in the second. Now the full count pitch to Morrison. Swing and a miss. He struck him out for his 5th strikeout. And 4 tickets to a future game on the way to Mac Dietz of Philadelphia. Let's pause for station identification. This is the Phillies Baseball Network.
At 8:31, this is KYW Philadelphia. AccuWeather says we'll have a thunderstorm in many sections this evening, possibly containing heavy rain and strong gusty winds. Partly cloudy and cooler later on. It's 63 degrees and partly cloudy at Independence
There's
Mall.
Larry Christensen at the plate. First pitch to Larry is high inside a ball. He's batting for Gene Williamson of Elmwood Avenue in Philadelphia in the Daily News home run payoff. Larry 3 for 9 this year. One of those hits a home run. He has driven in 4. Tall right-hander winds. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. 1 ball, 1 strike on Christensen. Richard came into the ball game leading the National League with 46 strikeouts. Here's a slider over for a strike. 1-2 the count to Christensen. And he has added to that total with 5 tonight. Breaking ball is low. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Jim Lonborg will bid to become the first Philly to win 4 games when he pitches against Mark Lemongello here tomorrow night. The 2-2 to Christensen over for a called 3rd strike. Christensen looks at a 3rd one. Strikeout number 6 for Richard, 2nd out of the inning, and 4 tickets to a future game on their way to Gene Williamson of Philadelphia. Now Bake McBride, who struck out in the first. He'll be swinging for Leona Bowman of North 20th Street in Philadelphia. Bake hitting at .267, left-handed batter. Bake has batted safely in 6 straight games, during which his average is .444. Swing and a miss, a strike, and J.R. has it gone tonight. 2 strikeouts in the first, 1 in the second, and 2 so far here in the third. Fastball to McBride is low. 1 ball and 1 strike. Our ball game delayed 20 minutes at the start this evening, following some pregame showers and the cleaning up of the field and manicuring and whatnot. We started at 7:57. Here's one off the end of the bat, grounded foul off the third base side. A ball and 2 strikes to Bake McBride. Phillies have been averaging just under 6 runs a ball game. So far tonight, they're behind 1-0 on Cedeno's home run. Wind up in the pitch by Richard. Check swing off the end of his bat, but it trickles fouled on the third baseline. Look, for a moment like that, one might stay fair. Count holds it a ball and 2 strikes on McBride. Bake has not homered this year. He has driven in 9 runs. Next pitch to McBride, check swing, and he takes it low. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Bake, batting with 2 outs and nobody on for the Phillies in the third. Phillies and the Astros will be meeting next week at this time. A 4-game series Monday through Thursday nights at the Astrodome. The 2-2 pitch to McBride. Called third strike. For the second time in the ball game, J.R. Richard has struck out the side, picking up number 7. 4 tickets to a future game on their way to Leona Bowman of Philadelphia. Phillies out in order in the third. At the end of 3, the Astros lead it 1-0.
It's to a Phillies game if one of the MAB spotters sees the Phillies bumper sticker on your car. To get your free Phillies bumper sticker, visit the nearest MAB paint store, dealer, or Rich Luck's home center in your neighborhood.
Enos Cabell to lead it off for Houston. Christensen curves him, and it's over for a strike. Cabell hit a soft pop-up to first base when he batted in the first inning. Larry Wines, and the next pitch is a changeup low. 1 ball and 1 strike. Cabell, Cedeno, and Cruz to bat for Houston in the fourth. And on the strength of Cedeno's first inning home run, the Astros lead it 1-0. Kristen misses outside. 2 balls and 1 strike to Cabell, batting at .262. A fastball just inside. 3 balls and 1 strike to Cabell. One of his best ball games last year was against Steve Carlton. He had 2 home runs and a double in a game in August against Carlton last year. Christensen winds. The 3-1 pitch to Cabell. A called strike. Fastball right at the knees. Full count. Cabell hit Christensen hard last year. 9 hits and 15 tries, and he knocked in 4 runs. Larry Wines, here's the full count pitch. Fouled off. Last night's rainout will be made up as a Friday night doubleheader. July 21st. It will begin here at Veterans Stadium at 5:35. Christensen winds. The 3-2 pitch. Again fouled off by the right-handed batter. Three balls and 2 strikes to Enos Cabell, leading off the Astros' 4th inning. Cabell from Fort Riley, Kansas, fouls off another pitch. He is in his 6th year of Major League Baseball. Last year he led the Astros in hits with 176. Christensen winds. The 3-2 pitch, and another foul ball. This one looped over top the picnic area in right field. I think that's 4 straight. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Cabell. Enos won 2 minor league bat titles before being called up to the Astros. He's a good hitter. Here's another foul ball. That's 5 straight. This one goes a little farther. It's off on the right side, way behind the picnic area. Cesar Cedeno had his 4th home run in the first inning, patiently waiting on deck. Christensen winds. Here again the pitch. He fouled it again, back to the screen. After the home run, Christensen has retired 7 straight batters. And he retired the 2 men before that, so Cedeno is the only man to reach Larry tonight. Here's a pop-up foul, and I don't believe this one's playable either. It's going into the crowd behind the Phillies dugout. Still 3-2. Well, Christensen's getting every pitch over the plate, and Cabella's getting a piece of every pitch so far. Larry winds, and again the pitch. Fouled off. Well, a lot of fans are getting souvenirs. That time it went to the upper deck. That's the first one he was able to put up there. All of his fouls are going to the right side. He is just kind of inside outing the swing and getting a piece of the ball. Larry winds, again the pitch. Swing and a miss. He finally struck him out. Christensen finally prevails as he gets his second strikeout of the ball game.
He really threw some smoke on that 3-2 fastball. That's right, Cabell was behind on every swing, wasn't quite getting around on the fastball, missed this one completely.
Now Cedeno, who has the one hit for the Astros, and it was his 4th home run of the year. Cedeno, before the season began, signed a 10-year contract with the Astros worth $3.5 million. Pitch to the right-handed batter is over for a strike. Cesar hitting at .284. He's also among the leaders in stolen bases. He has 10. Christensen winds. Here's the one-strike pitch. A breaking ball hit off the handle of the bat, pop foul. It's out of play. Well, Cedeno's only 27 years of age, so if he did play for another 10 years, he'd be 37 at that time, and that certainly isn't out of the realm of question based on what we've seen Pete Rose do this year. Cedeno is in his 8th Major League season. Here's the 2-strike pitch. Fastball low and outside. A ball and 2 strikes. Cedeno has 50 steals 6 straight years in a row. The 1-2 pitch is a ground ball to third base. Mike Schmidt has it. Throw across the diamond is low, but Hebner pulls it out in time. Cedeno grounds out to third base for the second out of the inning. And it brings to the plate Jose Cruz. Cruz grounded out to shortstop. A good play by Larry Boa, who actually came to the first base side of second to field his first inning grounder. Cruz is a left-handed batter. Wind up in the pitch by Christensen. A slider low, ball 1. Houston leads it 1-0. Here's a breaking ball over for a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. 2 out, nobody on for the Astros in the 4th. Cruz takes the next pitch high, a ball. 2 balls and 1 strike to Jose Cruz. His average at .295. Christensen winds, and the next pitch is swung on and missed, a strike. Larry looks like he has good stuff tonight. Hasn't walked anybody, has 2 strikeouts. Here's the 2-2 pitch to Cruz. It's inside, and we've got a full count. Last year, Cruz had only 1 hit in 15 tries against Christensen. The 3-2 pitch is a pop foul out of play, third base side. Last year, Cruz was the Astros' most valuable player. He hit .299. The pitch to him is lined to left field, but Luzinski is right there. He hit it hard, but right to the ball, and the Astros are out in order in the 4th. At the end of 3.5, Houston 1, Philadelphia 0.
Plymouth Arrow gets great mileage, 39 on the highway, 29 in the city, and has a low sticker price, $38.41, excluding taxes and destination charges, and features like reclining buckets, tinted glass, and fold-down rear seat. So when you get a Plymouth Arrow, you get your money's worth. The mileage is an EPA estimate for a manual transmission Arrow with 1.6-liter engine. Your mileage may differ. Plymouth Arrow's great mileage, price, and features give you your money's worth. See it today at your local Chrysler Plymouth dealer.
Here's Julie Reed and her husband, Phillies pitcher Ron Reed, with a message from Acme Markets.
Ron always enjoys his most favorite dish, Southern Poppy Seed Chicken. So when I make Southern Poppy Seed Chicken for Ron, I always insist on using the best quality ingredients. Acme Markets asked me to prepare Ron's favorite dish by using Acme's own products, starting with their chicken, ideal cream of chicken soup, crackers, Ideal sour cream, Ideal margarine, and other Acme products.
You can get Julie Reed's Phillies home plate recipe for poppy seed chicken at any Acme Super Saver.
Well, Ron, how do you like it?
It's ideal, honey. By the way, that was a great pitch you made for Acme.
We'd like you to try Julie Reed's poppy seed chicken, and just as she did, get all your quality ingredients at your nearby Acme Super Saver market.
Larry Boa leads it off for the Phillies in the fourth inning. Larry has the only Phil's hit in the ball game, a ground ball weakly hit towards shortstop, and with Larry's great speed, he easily beat it out. So here's Boa, who has an 8-game hitting streak going, the longest of any Phil this year. Larry batting left-handed against J.R. Richard. Here's the pitch to him. A fastball is outside ball one. J.R. has already struck out 7 in this ball game. The National League high for the year is 11. Richard himself has already done that twice. Strike at the knees. 1 ball, 1 strike to Boa. He'll be followed by Schmidt and Luzinski. Astros lead it 1-0 on Cedeno's first inning home run. The 1-1 to Boa is a ground ball towards second, fielded by Howe. Throws on the run, got it to first in time. Boa bounces out to second. That's the first out of the Phillies' fourth, and it brings up Mike Schmidt. Schmidt struck out looking in the first inning. Richard has struck out the side twice in the first and again in the third. He had 1 strikeout in the second. Here's Schmidt, who's 25 runs scored, leads the National League, and Mike has scored runs in 7 consecutive ball games. Richard winds, and the pitch on the way. Fastball grounded to shortstop. Metzger bobbles the ball, picks it up, does not make a throw. That will probably be an error on the shortstop. And it is. Error on shortstop Roger Metzger.
That ball may have skidded a little bit on Metzger. The infield is relatively dry, I guess, when you compare it to the outfield, but it is a little wet around that shortstop and third base area.
The Phillies have their second base runner of the ball game. Here's Greg Luzinski stretching the pitch. Running on the play, Schmidt out at second base. The tag put on by the second baseman, Howe. Luzinski took the pitch for a ball. Schmidt running was thrown out at second. So there are 2 outs. Here's the 1-0 pitch to Luzinski. Check swing. He takes it low, ball 2. Bulls struck out swinging in the first inning. Two 2-0 pitch to Luzinski. A fastball high, 3-0 to the Bull. And we'll see if he gets a green light here. Richard has not walked anybody in this ball game. He's battled back from some 3-0 counts before. Here's the pitch, swing and a miss. He did. 3 balls and a strike to Luzinski, who leads the Phillies with 18 runs batted in and with 6 home runs. 3-1 pitch on the way from J.R. Bull fouls it back, and we've got a full count. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Greg Luzinski, batting with 2 outs and nobody aboard for the Phillies in the fourth, who trail 1-0. J.R. has been tough. The Phillies have nothing but an infield hit so far. Richard in his 5th National League season. He's 28 years of age, from Vienna, Louisiana. Here's the full count pitch to the Bull. Swing and a foul back. He went up for a high pitch that would have been ball 4. Three balls and 2 strikes to Luzinski. Again, the payoff pitch, and it's high, ball 4. Greg walks. First walk handed out by Richard, who has had control problems in the past. And Luzinski to first with 2 down. It brings up Richie Hebner, who bounced out to second baseman Art Howe. Hebner has batted safely in 8 of the last 9 ball games. Richie hitting at .283. The Astros lead 1-0. Houston trying to break a 4-game losing streak. The Astros have lost 6 of their last 7 ball games. Richard stretches, and the pitch is a fastball low inside, ball one. Luzinski taking a small lead at first. And the pitch to Hebner is a line shot into left center field, but Poole is over there, and he takes it for the out. Terry Poole, left fielder, shading him that way, and Hebner is out. For the Phillies in the fourth, no runs, no hits, one error, and one man left on base. At the end of four, Houston leads 1-0.
George lets you be the banker. Gerard Bank. We're there when you need us.
Haddon Travel invites you to join Jay Johnstone for 10 days in the Hawaiian Islands, departing Philadelphia October 30th for just $699. This 10-day trip includes Honolulu, Kona, and Hilo. The complete price of $699 includes United Airlines scheduled flights, deluxe hotels, breakfast and dinner every day in Honolulu. For 10 days, starting October 30th, Honolulu, Kona, and Hilo, $699. Jay Johnstone hosts this great Haddon Travel trip to Hawaii. For a free brochure, call Haddon Travel in Pennsylvania, Walnut 3-2816, and in New Jersey, 795-5550. We go to the fifth. Here's Rich.
Okay, Andy. Bob Watson leading off for Houston takes a pitch outside for a ball. Watson struck out his first time up. He's batting .292. Takes the next pitch outside, 2-0 the count. It'll be Watson, Howe, and Ferguson to face Christensen. 2-0 pitch to Bob Watson. Fly ball hit well to right field. Bake McBride back, has a beat on it, under the ball, and makes the catch. Watson is out, one down. Each team with only one hit. The only difference is the Phillies a one-bagger and Houston's one hit a four-bagger by Cesar Cedeno. Here's Art Howe, who grounded out his first time up. He's 0 for 1, batting .292. First pitch to Howe is popped foul right side. I believe it's out of play, and it is about 5 or 6 rows back in the lower box seat. Strike one on Art Howe. One of the best ways for you and your friends to have a night out in the town you'll never forget is to attend the Phillies game in a group outing. And a lot of groups here tonight, as there are in almost every ball game here. Here's another foul ball out of play. Just pick out a date, call Phillies group sales experts at 803-5000, and they'll do the rest for you. A group outing at the Phillies, fun for everyone. So make that phone call, 803-5000, and come on out to the ballpark with your group. 2-strike pitch is just outside, and the count is 1-2 to Art Howe. Howe's a right-hand batter. Phillies play him almost straight away. He checks his swing on a low outside pitch, and the count evens up at 2-2. Phillies got an infield hit in the first inning. The Astros got a home run in the first inning. The only score in the ball game. Here's a line drive right at Larry Boa. He snags it. Howe hit it hard, but right at Boa, 2 down. And the batter will be the catcher, Joe Ferguson. He flied out to right field his first time up. Ferguson's 0 for 1, batting .208. Christensen's pitch. Ferguson takes it low and outside, ball 1. Boston still leads Kansas City 2-0. They're in the 5th inning. Yankees in Minnesota 0-0 after 1. Christensen misses on a changeup. Ball 2 the count to Joe Ferguson. Ferguson has power. He's hit 5 home runs. He takes outside, ball 3. Houston leading 1-0. We're in the top of the 5th. 3-0 pitch. Strike called, fastball in there. Ferguson, a stocky right-hand batter, hits a slow grounder to third. Schmidt will have to hurry. Bare hands it, goes to first. Ferguson is out on a good play by Mike Schmidt. Schmidt making a good play on a slowly hit ball, and the Astros are down in order. Phillies batting in the home 5th. They trail 1-0.
2 years ago, Plymouth introduced the most successful car in its history, Polari. Today, we've got it in 3 styles that all give you your money's worth. the Slant 6 Coupe that gets better mileage than any six-cylinder automatic built in America. The sedan that's roomiest in its class. And the wagon that's become the #1 selling wagon in America over the past 2 years.
I used to think of the George machine at Girard Bank as my own private money game. If I forgot to go to the bank or needed cash on a weekend, there he was. Proceed to go and collect $200. Man, I owned that withdrawal button. You know what I mean? And then I looked at all the buttons. Wow. Checking, savings, deposits, loans, transfers, balances. I got a whole bank right here. Now I do my everyday banking with George. I push the buttons, and I run the bank.
George lets you be the banker. Girard Bank. We're there when you need us.
The Phillies are batting in the bottom of the fifth. It'll be Gary Maddox, Bob Boone, and Jim Morrison, the first three batters, against the big right-hander J.R. Richard, and he is really smoking tonight. Struck out 7 already. Maddox struck out his first time up. He's 0 for 1. And Richard with the first pitch. Pop foul behind home plate, out of play. Strike one on Maddox. Cesar Cedeno's first inning home run, the only score in the game. Phillies only have one hit, an infield single by Larry Boa. Maddox fouls another pitch back, strike 2 on Gary Maddox. Maddox batting .289 as he steps in. 2-strike pitch on the way. Misses low and outside. 1-2 the count. Phillies trying to get something going. Maddox swings and misses. Tried to check his swing. And J.R. Richard will get his 8th strikeout. 1 down, and the batter will be catcher Bob Boone. Boone flied out to left field his first time up. And let's pause for station identification on the Phillies Baseball Network.
At 8:59, this is KYW Philadelphia. AccuWeather says we'll have a shower or thunder shower in some sections tonight, then partly cloudy and cooler later on, the low 52. 64 degrees, partly cloudy at Independence Mall.
Bob Boone, the batter. 1 down, nobody on. Bottom of the fifth, Phillies trail 1-0. Boone takes a pitch outside, ball 1. Boone hitting .280. Boone has 3 home runs in the season. Takes a called strike. Boone didn't like the call by umpire Dick Stello. Ball 1, strike 1. 1-1 pitch to Boone. Strike called. Slider on the outside corner. Richard only throwing 2 pitches, a hard fastball and a hard slider. He doesn't believe in off-speed pitches. Boone checks his swing on a high inside pitch. 2-2 the count. Phillies have had 3 base runners, a single, a walk, and an error. Boone fly ball, shallow right field, coming on as Cruz, under the ball and makes a catch. Boone flies out, 2 away. And the batter will be second baseman Jim Morrison. Jim struck out his first time up. Morrison batting .292. 2 outs and nobody on. Richard has not been in any trouble at all so far. Here's a ground ball to the shortstop. Metzger, he has it. Over to first, and Morrison is out on 1 pitch, and the Phillies are down in order. At the end of 5 full innings, it's Houston 1, the Phillies 0, and now time for a tasty break.
Hi, Sam here with a Tasty Cake Baseball Baffler. Major leaguers come from every part of this great country of ours. Many come from places like Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic. But only one came all the way from Czechoslovakia to the big leagues. Can you name him? While you toss that around, head for the kitchen and grab the cake that started right here in Philadelphia. It's Tasty Cake, of course. Like Tasty Cake chocolate, peanut butter, and mint candy cakes. 3 delicious ways to discover the scrumptious, fresh-baked taste people have been cheering for over 60 years. And when you bring home candy cakes in family packs, there's always plenty of that great tasting cake to go around. And now here's the answer to our baffler. The player that came to the Philadelphia A's all the way from Czechoslovakia was Elmer Vallow, one of baseball's great pinch hitters, who will long be remembered for his spectacular feats in Connie Mack Stadium. Baseball and tasty cake. They're all the good things wrapped up in one.
Now from the KYW newsroom, our top story. The police barricade that has surrounded the Move compound in Powelton Village for 2 months is now down, ending a long and bitter controversy between the city and the radical Back to Nature group Move. The barricade came down after police completed an inspection of the compound and found no more weapons. Earlier in the day, Move surrendered their weapons to police. At the Spectrum, the Bruins 2, the Flyers nothing at the end of the first period.
Houston batting here in the 6th inning. Metzger will lead it off. Mets lead Cincinnati 2-1. They're in the Reds are batting in the bottom of the 4th. Koosman and Hume, the pitchers in that one. Mets beat Cincinnati to break a losing streak yesterday, or the day before. Metzger fouls a pitch back, strike one. Obviously, the Reds didn't get a very good scouting report on the New York Mets. Here's a line drive right at Mike Schmidt. He grabs it. Metzger lines out, one down. And the batter's the pitcher, J.R. Richard. Richard ground out his first time up. He's hitting .077. Houston leading 1-0 here in the 6th. The pitching is really dominated. Richard swings and fouls a pitch off, strike one. Well, Christensen is, since the home run, has retired 14 in a row. But he's still behind in the game, 1-0. Strike one on Richard. And the next pitch is outside. Ball one, strike one to J.R. Richard. 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss on a slider. Big cut by James Rodney, but he missed it. Ball one, strike two. Both these pitchers, Richard and Christensen, can hit a ball a long way. One-two pitch. Bounces up there. 2-2 to count. Atlanta beat Montreal 3-2, first of a doubleheader. They're 0-0 after 2 innings of the second game. Richard swings and misses at a pitch, and he strikes out. Christensen gets his third strikeout, 2 down, and the batter will be the leadoff hitter, Terry Poole. Toronto leading Oakland 4-0 at the end of 5. Tommy Hutton hit a home run in Sunday's game. Hutton has a couple of home runs for the Blue Jays. Poole bunts one right back to the mound. Christensen grabs it, fires wide to first. Poole rounding first now. He'll go into second and maybe to third. He will go to third. Morrison finally running the ball down. Christensen, I believe, will get a 3-base error. Christensen had the ball in plenty of time, but he threw it wide past first. I don't think Hebner got any leather on the ball at all. Well, we'll see how they score. It'll probably be an error on Christensen. The batter is Enos Cabell, who was popped out and struck out. That's what it is, an error on Christensen, a 3-base error. First pitch to Cabell is high, ball one. Poole's on third, 2 outs. Cabell takes a called strike. Cabell batting .260. 1-1 pitch by Christensen is high and outside. 2-1 the count. Christensen throwing fastballs, sliders, and changeups. 2-1 pitch. Line drive, foul and out of play. Down in the right field picnic area, 2-2 the count to Cabell. Houston leading 1-0, top of the sixth. Pools on third, 2 down. 2-2 pitch, struck him out. Cabell chased the bad low pitch. 4th strikeout for Christensen. No runs, no hits, 1 error, 1 left on. Phillies batting in the 6th. They trail 1-0.
When you paint this year, select the paint that lasts longer. MAB Seashore House Paint. It gives you more years per gallon. In fact, it's the best paint you can buy. That's because MAB Seashore House Paint was especially designed for the harsh, rugged weather conditions on the shore, like wind, rain, sun, and especially salt air. So when it comes to painting your home, inside or out, think of MAB in the more than 300 MAB paint stores, dealers, and Rich Lux Home Centers. Bank Americard and Master Charge accepted.
There's 2 things I remember about 58. I spent more on oil for my hair than on oil for my car. And I bought my first Chevy. It's also the year I started using Champions. Now in 66, I remember 2 more things. A silver Corvette and a redhead named Georgette.
No matter where you are, it's Champion.
This year I got myself a Chevy wagon and 4 more things to remember. Billy Jean, Billy Joe, Billy Jean, and Billy Bob. Now, I've had a lot of different kinds of Chevys over the years, but one kind of spark plug, Champion.
You can buy a better plug for any kind of car than Champion. Champion. You can buy a better plug no matter where you are than Champion. Champion's #1 in the world. #1 in your car.
Did I forget someone? Did I forget Billy Jack?
Larry Christensen will lead off, bottom of the 6th. Larry struck out his first time up. It'll be Christensen, McBride, and Boa to face J.R. Richard, who's already struck out 8. Christensen takes a slider over for a called strike. Larry's batting .300 right on the nose. And the next pitch, swing and a miss on a slider, strike 2 on Christensen. Each team with only 1 hit. Houston, a home run by Cedeno. Christensen swings and misses. He strikes out. Strikeout number 9 for Richard. 1 down, the batter will be Bate McBride, who's already struck out twice. Phillies only hit an infield single by Larry Bull way back in the first inning. McBride batting .263. Takes a called strike. Bake has struck out twice looking at the 3rd strike. That's unusual for McBride. 1 strike pitch on the way. It bounces up there. Good grab there by catcher Joe Ferguson, and the count is 1-1. Richard has given up only 1 hit. He's only walked 1. McBride, fly ball, left field, hit deep. It is a home run. Oh, boy. An opposite field home run by Bate McBride right down the foul line. And this game is tied at 1-1. A case of tasty cake for Bate McBride. 1 for the Shriners Hospital for crippled children. Bate McBride got a fastball out away from him. Drove it over the fence right into the Houston bullpen, and the game is tied at 1-1. It's only the 2nd hit off Richard. Larry Boa, the batter, has the other one, an infield single. Boa takes high and outside, ball 1. Boa is 1 for 2, batting .320. Brand new ball game, all tied at 1-1. Boa takes high again, ball 2. Crowd starting to get with it here for the first time tonight. Shake and Bake McBride getting his first home run of the year, his 9th run batted in on a home run over the left field fence. Ball 2, the count to Boa. 1 down. Two-0 pitch. High, ball 3. One thing about hitting against a pitcher that throws as hard as J.R. Richard, to hit him, you got to swing hard, and if you ever do hit the ball, it should go a long way. Here's a called strike right through the heart of the plate. 3-1 to count to Boa. Mike Schmidt, the on-deck batter. 3-1 pitches, high and outside, ball 4. Second walk given up by Richard. Second time Boa's been on. Boa on first, 1 down. The batter, Mike Schmidt. Schmidt got on base on an error, and he struck out. He's officially 0 for 2 in the night. Phil's trying to keep it going here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Schmidt batting .319. Boa's at first, 1 out. Two home runs have accounted for all the scoring, one by McBride, one by Cedeno. Boa with a good lead off first. Richard out of the stretch. Uh-oh, they got Boa picked off. Boa in a rundown, and now tagged out by first baseman Bob Watson. Boa was picked off. Boa left a little too early, and J.R. Richard fired the ball to Watson. Watson finally ran Boa down, going towards second, so all of a sudden 2 outs and nobody on. And the batter, Mike Schmidt. Well, Boa was picked off. Mike Schmidt was thrown out trying to steal earlier. Phillies haven't had many base runners, and 2 of them have been wiped out. First pitch to Schmitty. Swing and a miss, strike 1. Schmidt going for the fences with that cut. One strike pitch by Richard. High and inside. Ball 1, strike 1 to Schmidt. Schmidt gets on. Lazinski would bat. Richard with the pitch. Swing and a miss. Good fastball by Richard. 1 ball, 2 strikes to count on Schmidt. Game all tied, 1-1. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Ground ball hit hard to third. Cabell has it. Fires across the diamond to Watson, and Schmidt is out. That'll retire the side. But 1 run on Bake McBride's home run. 1 hit, nobody left. At the end of 6 full innings, it's Houston 1, the Phillies 1.
I just saved myself a trip to the bank and a trip to the post office. I've got this new thing going with George Bank by Phone from Girard Bank. Just paid a month's worth of bills, did a whole pile of banking. I even gave myself a loan. Oh, sure. A few other banks have pay by phone, but Girard lets me pay and bank by phone. You know, it's almost like having a Girard Bank right here in my kitchen.
Ask for a demonstration of George Bank by Phone at any Girard Bank office.
The traffic light changes and you push your gas pedal, but instead of power, you get bucking, hesitation, even stalling. You could have a dirty carburetor. You can clean it up with Gum Out Carburetor Spray, on sale now at Penn Jersey for just 99 cents. So help end your car's bulky engine problems with Gum Out Carburetor Spray, now just 99 cents at Penn Jersey Auto Stores, which is why they say...
When your car's not running like it did before, make a pit stop at Penn Jersey Auto Stores.
The Phillies have 2 great publications on sale here at the ballpark or through the mail. Phillies Yearbook, brand new and one of the best ever, loaded with color pictures of the players and their families. plus lots of interesting reading on sale at the ballpark for $2 or through the mail for $2.50. Also, Baseball the Phillies Way, a fully illustrated book on how to play the game of baseball, plus 27 full-color baseball cards of Phillies players. On sale here at the ballpark for $1.50 or through the mail for $2. For both publications, send a check or money order to Phillies Publications, Post Office Box 7575, Philadelphia 19101. We go to the seventh inning, all tied at 1-1, and over to Andy Musser. Andy?
Thank you, Rich. Here's Cesar Cedeno at the plate, and a curveball from Christensen is low, ball one. Cedeno's home run in the first had the Astros ahead until the blast by McBride in the sixth inning for the Phillies, so we're all even, as Rich said, 1-1. Cedeno, Cruz, and Watson to square off against Larry Christensen. Here's a hard hit ball into right center field. This is really drilled. It is way back there. It is up against the wall. Extra bases for Cedeno. He is rounding second, heading for third. Here's Boa's relay. He is into third base with a triple.
I tell you, Cedeno's a one-man wrecking crew here tonight. Home run now and a triple to lead off the inning, and Christensen is in trouble.
Only the second hit for the Astros, and Cedeno has had them both, so he's at third base, and the Phillies will bring the infield in for Jose Cruz, left-handed batter. All the infielders level with the bag. Cruz has grounded to short and lined to left field. The ball he hit to the bull was hit hard, but Luzinski was right there. So it's Cedeno at third base. That is his first triple of the year. Ball game is tied 1-1, but the Astros threatening in the seventh inning. Here's Cruz, left-handed batter. From the full windup, Christensen's pitch. Fly ball down the left field side. It is in foul ground. Luzinski coming over, but there's no play as it goes into the picnic area. Strike one on Cruz. Jose batting at .292. Christensen winds, and the pitch to him, swing and a miss. 0-2 the count. Warren Brewster warming up for the Phillies. Well, a sacrifice fly situation here for the Astros. Fastball is outside, and last year Cruz was tied for the National League lead. With Bobby Mercer, they each drove in 10 runs on sacrifice flies. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Changeup just misses. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Cruz has knocked in 5 runs for Houston. Wind up in the pitch. A ball gloved on one hop by Morrison. No chance to score. He throws him out. A fine play. Jim Morrison has just saved a run on a hard hit one hopper. He gloved it to his left, held the runner, and threw out Cruz.
Yes, sir. That was a great play. That looked like it was through. Morrison diving to his left, gloved it, recovered quickly, gave Cedeno a look in case he'd try to score. Well, that's one big out for the tough hitter, Bob Watson, up there.
Mike Schmidt in to have a word with Christensen. That was a reaction play by Morrison. Of course, as a third baseman, he's used to that. And playing in like that, that was more like the kind of a ground ball a third baseman would get. Jimmy gloved it on the glove side and handled it perfectly. Here's Watson, right-handed batter. The pitch to him is a roller, fouled on the first baseline, strike one. Watson has struck out, has flied to right. He leads the Astros in runs batted across with 18. 1 run, 2 hits, and 1 error for each team. Houston batting in the 7th inning. Infield remains in. Christensen gives Cedeno a look, and here's the pitch. Another foul ball off the first base side, and Christensen gets ahead in the count, 0-2. Art Howe is waiting on deck. Christensen has the sign from Boone. Here's the pitch. Just a little bit low. 1-2 the count. Watson was tough on Larry last year, getting 6 hits and 13 tries and knocking in 6 runs. One of his hits a homer. The pitch to Watson, ground ball. Schmidt has it at third. It bobbles away from him. Everybody's safe. The run scores, and the Astros lead the ball game 2-1. Schmidt was conceding the run. That'll be a base hit. The run was going to score, but Schmidt looked as though he was going to make a play at first base, but he couldn't pick it up, and Watson gets a single and an RBI. So it's 2-1 Houston. RBI number 19 for Watson. Only the third hit for the Astros, and here is Art Howe 0 for 2. One out in the inning with Watson at first base. Here's a check throw over that way. He dives back safely. Howe has grounded DeBoa and lined DeBoa. Cesar Cedeno has scored both of Houston's runs. Christensen stretches in the pitch. Swing and a miss, and a late one by Howe. Good low fastball, and he did not pick it up. One strike on Art Howe. He's batting at .289. Howe is a spray hitter. Spreads the ball around. Here's a breaking ball. It's low. 1 ball and 1 strike. The Astros led this ball game by a run from the first inning until the Phillies tied it in the 6th, and here Houston is right back up by 1. Christensen at the belt. The pitch to Howe is a very high fly ball down the left field line, but it is bending foul out of play. 1-2 the count on Art Howe, right-handed batter. Warren Brewster continues to work in the Phillies' right field bullpen. Christensen, at one stretch in this ball game, retired 15 straight batters before he ended the streak himself by making a throwing error on Terry Poole in the 6th inning. Stretch in the pitch to Howe. Changeup is low. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Christensen at the belt. The pitch to Howe is fouled away on the right side. Count holds at 2-2. Howe standing out to check signs with third base coach Bob Lillis. Christensen has his sign, and here's the 2-2 pitch. It's fouled back to the screen. He hangs in there. 2-2. There's 1 out in the inning. The Astros have a run in to take the lead 2-1, and they have Bob Watson at first base. Phillies looking for a double play. Throw to first, and Watson is back in time. Tomorrow night, right-handers. Jim Lundborg for the Phillies, Mark Lemongello for Houston. 7:35 start. Howe check swing, pitches outside, throw to first, just back in time. We've got a full count at the plate. The pitch by Christensen didn't miss by much. And Boone's attempt to nail Watson off first also did not fail by much. 3 balls and 2 strikes on Howe. Hebner holding the bag at first. There goes the runner, and the pitch is a line drive, and Morrison slows it but can't get it at second. It triples into center field, and on his way to third base is Watson. A single for Howe, and Watson takes third. Morrison did get leather on that ball, slowed it down, and actually his getting leather on it may have enabled Watson to take the extra base.
It was hit hard, but Morrison probably should have caught the ball. He had enough leather on it where you should make that catch. Had he caught it, it would have been an easy double play.
At the plate, Joe Ferguson, runners at first and third. The pitch to Ferguson is fouled off, a strike. Ferguson has flied to right and grounded to third. The Astros lead it 2-1, and this threat is still very much alive. There's only 1 out with runners at the corners. Christensen stretches. Pitch on the way to Ferguson, a pop-up. It's behind the plate, but it may go out of play. Over top the Phillies dugout. Boone comes over, but there's no room. Christensen ahead in the count to Ferguson. No balls and 2 strikes. Fergie leading the Astros in home runs with 5. Cedeno collecting his 4th here tonight. Montreal and Atlanta in that second game are scoreless in the 4th inning. Mets lead Cincinnati 2-1 there in the 5th. Atlanta won that first game tonight by scoring 2 in the 9th, 3-2. Here's a pitch low. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Ferguson. The Astros had only one hit through the first 6 innings. They've gotten 3 hits in this inning. Stretch in the pitch by Christensen. Breaking ball, tap foul right off the plate. Count holds at a ball and 2 strikes. Well, we're going to have good crowds here at Veterans Stadium this weekend when the Reds come in, but of course, none of the ball games are sold out, and you really can't get a bad seat here at Veterans Stadium. So come on out to watch the Phillies against the Reds this weekend, starting at 7:35 on Thursday night. The 1-2 pitch. Hard hit ball into right center field. It's going to fall for a hit. It's cut off, but scoring on the play will be Watson. On over to third base is Howe, and the Astros take a 3-1 lead. Bake McBride did a good job of getting over to cut off that ball, but the Astros have picked up a 3rd run. RBI number 13 for Ferguson. Hit number 5 for Houston. It brings up Roger Metzger, but before he comes to the plate, Danny Ozark out of the Phillies dugout. Larry Christensen in complete control until this inning, but Cedeno let it off with a triple. Then the great play by Morrison on the ball hit by Cruz, but following that, 3 straight singles by Watson, Howe, and Ferguson. Warren Brewster is warming in the bullpen as Danny Ozark goes to the mound, and we'll pause here for station identification along the Phillies Baseball Network.
This is News Radio in the Delaware Valley, KYW 1060, Philadelphia. It's clear skies and 64 degrees on Independence Mall.
Phil's manager, Danny Ozark, standing on the mound talking with Larry Christensen. He has not made a move. Home plate umpire Dick Stello has gone out to break up the conversation. And Christensen will stay in the ball game. 1 out in the inning. Howe is at third base. Ferguson is at first base. 2 runs in for the Astros for them to lead 3-1. And here's Roger Metzger coming to the plate, switch hitting shortstop, who has twice lined out tonight. Once to Maddox and once to Schmidt. Metzger up there as a left-handed batter. Phillies are still looking for a double play. Stretch in the pitch by Christensen. It was a pitch out, ball 1. The Astros 3 runs and 5 hits. The Phillies 1 run and 2 hits. The Phillies with a homer by McBride, an infield single by Boa. Here's the 1-0 to Metzger, and they pitch out again. Still looking for Ferguson to move off first, but he wasn't going either time.
I believe they were looking for possible squeeze play there. Could be a kind of a semi-intentional walk. Get to the pitcher, J.R. Richard.
Christensen stretches. Here's another pitch out. I'm sure you've got it, Whitey. They are just seeing if they couldn't smoke out something going for Houston. Now they'll probably go ahead and give it to him.
Used to be able to get away with that in high school once in a while.
And now they're going to go ahead and give him the 4th wide one, so that will be an intentional walk to Metzger. And the Astros have the bases loaded. That's the first walk of the ball game given out by Christensen. Ferguson on down to second, and pitcher J.R. Richard will bat. He's a good hitter. Though he hasn't really shown it so far this year, he is only 1 for 14. Tonight he grounded to second and struck out. Christensen struck him out on a good low fastball his last time up. J.R., tall right-handed batter. Christensen will work from the full windup. Larry rocks into it. Here's the pitch. A liner to right field coming hard. McBride, he one-hands it for the out. Throw back to first, not in time, and nobody can score. Good heads-up play by McBride, who made the catch and got the ball back so quickly nobody could advance.
Runner on third, Art Howe, made a mistake. I guess he thought the ball was going to drop in, but you still have to stay close to that bag to tag up. He was about 10 steps down the line when McBride caught the ball, so he didn't have a chance to score.
Second out of the inning. And here is Terry Poole, left-handed batter, who is 0 for 3. Christensen winds. Pitch on the way to Poole. Hard hit ball back through the middle. It's a base hit. Here's 1 run in. Here comes Ferguson heading for the plate. The throw is onto the plate, but not in time, and the Astros have added 2 more runs to lead the ball game 5-1. Solidly hit ball by Poole straight back through the middle, and he picks up RBIs number 5 and 6. Danny Ozark again headed for the mound, and that means Christensen is out of the ball game. The Astros lead at 5-1 as they score 4 times here in the 7th inning. So we've got a pitching change at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. We'll be back following these messages. Want to add new sparkle and excitement to a humdrum world? Well, enroll for summer courses at Widener College in nearby suburban Chester, PA. Widen your world with Widener. There are long lists of subjects available, both graduate and undergraduate, both day and evening classes, as well as a Widener Way for Women program. Perhaps you need a few credits prior to September. Perhaps you're thinking of re-entering college. Perhaps you're out of high school a few years and want to give college a try. Widener College is a fully accredited college where you can work toward a degree or just take a course or two that will make your life more interesting and your career more rewarding. Day courses at Widener include business administration, engineering, social science, paralegal, humanities, and science, just to name a few. In addition, evening courses include accounting and management, liberal arts, science, engineering, and social science. MBA courses are also offered in the evening. Make this summer rewarding as well as enjoyable. Call Widener College at 876-5551 for additional information.
2 years ago, Plymouth introduced the most successful car in its history, Polari. Today, we've got it in 3 styles that all give you your money's worth. The Slant 6 Coupe that gets better mileage than any 6-cylinder automatic built in America. The sedan that's roomiest in its class. And the wagon that's become the #1 selling wagon in America over the past 2 years. Coupe, sedan, or wagon, Polari gives you your money's worth. See it today at your local Chrysler Plymouth dealer.
Right-hander Warren Brewster is in to pitch for the Phillies in relief of Larry Christensen as the Astros have batted around here in the 7th inning. When Enos Cabell comes up, he'll be the 9th hitter of the inning. And the Astros have scored 4 runs to lead this ball game 5-1. Christensen, working 6 2/3 innings, gives up 6 hits, 5 runs so far, walked 1, struck out 4, and committed 1 error. Brewster, appearing in his 7th game tonight, has no one-loss record, an earned run average of 3 right on the button. He has not yet recorded a save this year. Warren normally used in short inning relief, and he has worked only 9 1/3 innings this year, giving up 7 hits and 3 runs. Right-handed batting Enos Cabell. To bat, he is 0 for 3, struck out twice. Runners at first and second. Poole with the 2-run single at first base, and Metzger at second base. Pitch on the way to Cabell. One hopper, gloved by Brewster. Makes the play to first base, and the inning is over. So Brew comes in to shut the door. But the Astros scored 4 runs in the inning on 5 hits, and they left 2 men on base. At the end of 6 1/2, Houston 5, Phillies 1.
Town Electric Discount Appliances, 220 York Road in Jenkintown.
The Phillies are offering you fans a tremendous collection of souvenir items that include youth uniforms, jerseys, warm-up jackets, sweaters, golf shirts, jewelry, and many other items. These items are available over the counter or through the mail from Phillies World at Sixsmith Sporting Goods, 7554 Frankfort Avenue in Northeast Philadelphia. All available products are on display at Sixsmith's or in a special display here at the vet on the 200 level behind home plate. Mail order forms are available at Sixsmith's, the Veterans Stadium display area, and in the Phillies Yearbook, daily programs, and fanograms. Well, we have seen an explosion here by the Astros to give them a 5-1 lead, and strong pitching by the hurler, J.R. Richard, who has just given up 2 hits, an infield single by Boa in the first, and a home run by Bake McBride, his first of the year, in the 6th. Now we go to the last of the 7th inning, and here is Greg Luzinski to lead it off. The Bull, Hebner, and Maddox to see what they can get going against tall right-hander J.R. Richard. James Rodney has struck out 9. 2 away from the high in the National League, which he has personally accomplished twice. Pitch to the Bull. Very high fly ball into shallow center field. Cedeno coming in a few steps. Ooh, that was really up there, and he takes it for the out. Luzinski skies out to center field to start the 7th. And it brings up Richie Hebner.
Andy, we want to send our best along to a great Phillies fan. He lives in Berwick, Pennsylvania. He's blind. A fellow by the name of Newton Young never misses a ball game. We want to wish him well.
Okay, Rich, here's Hebner, who is grounded out and lined out. Left-handed batter. Richard winds, and the pitch is swung on and missed a strike. Hebner has batted safely in 8 of the last 9 games. Oddly enough, the 2 Phillies who came into the game with hit streaks going are both players who got hits. Here's a pitch that's low, a ball. Larry Boa has now batted safely in 8 straight, and Dake McBride has batted safely in 7 straight. The 1-1 to Hebner is high. 2 balls and a strike. Remember the Carlton Seaver matchup here Thursday. And on Friday night, Randy Lurch will pitch for the Phillies against Bill Bonham. He hasn't worked in quite a while. A slider misses high. 3 balls and a strike. Tomorrow night, Lundborg against Lemongello. Richard has walked 2 batters tonight. He has a 3-1 count here on Richie Hebner. JR has the sign. Here's his pitch. Strike call. Right out the letters, we've got a full count to Hebner. Richie batting at .279. Here's the full count pitch. He checks his swing and takes outside, ball 4. Hebner gets aboard on the 3rd walk given up by Richard. And Gary Maddox will be trying to do something. Gary has struck out twice tonight. Here's Maddox, right-handed batter, hitting with 1 out and 1 on. Phillies trailing the game now 5-1. The Astros set up for a double play. Richard stretches. The pitch on the way to Maddox. High, ball 1. Remember to stay tuned for the Tasty Cake wrap-up show tonight following the game. All the out-of-town scores, plus highlights of this ball game, and a chat with one of the participants. The 1-0 to Maddox is high, ball 2. The Braves have scored 2 runs in the 4th inning to lead Montreal 2-1 at the end of 4 in the second end of their doubleheader. Braves won that first game by scoring 2 in the 9th to win it 3-2. Richard stretches. 2-0 pitch on the way to Maddox. Strike call. Phillies have won 3 straight coming into this one tonight and 7 of 8. They've got to get some runs on the board. Maddox fouls off a pitch. 2 balls and 2 strikes. After the windup of this 2-game series and the 4 with the Reds, the Phillies will be out of town for 2 weeks. So you better come to the ballpark this week and see some baseball, because the Phillies aren't going to be around for a while. Here's the 2-2 pitch to Maddox. He gets a piece of it and fouls it back to the screen. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The New York Mets scored 3 times in the 5th inning, but the Cincinnati Reds came back to score 3 times in the 5th. So the Mets lead at 5-4 at the end of 5. Maddox checks his swing and takes a fastball a bit high. We've got a full count. Pedro Borbon is now pitching in that ball game for Cincinnati, coming on in the 6th inning. 3 balls and 2 strikes on Maddox. 1 out, 1 on for the Phillies, who trail at 5-1. Richard stretches. Pitch on the way to Maddox. Hard hit ball to left field, but foul by a bunch. He had home run distance on that one, but it goes over the scoreboard and foul ground above the picnic area in deep left field. Third baseman Enos Cabell in to have a quick word with J.R. Richard. J.R. has given up just 2 hits, has struck out 9. The Astros did commit 1 error. It was by shortstop Metzger, permitting Mike Schmidt to reach base in the 4th inning, but then Schmidt was gunned down trying to steal by catcher Joe Ferguson. Richard has his sign from Fergie. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Maddox gets a piece and fouls it back to the crowd. I think we've had more foul balls in this ball game than any in recent memory. The crowd really getting some souvenirs tonight. Maddox hanging in with a full count. Hebner at first with 1 out. Pitch on the way to Maddox. Check swing. He takes it high. Ball 4. Runners at first and second. Maddox takes a walk. Number 4 given up by Richard. And here is Bob Boone, who has more game-winning RBIs, 5 of them, than any other player in the National League this year. Tonight, Booney is 0 for 2. Conference at the mound as second baseman Howe and first baseman Watson come in to converse briefly with Richard. They're going back to their positions now. There's only 1 out in the inning. Phillies at first and second. This is the first time in the ball game the Phillies have had more than 1 base runner at a time. Here's Boone hitting at .275. Boone has had RBIs in 5 consecutive ball games. Richard stretches. Pitch to the right-handed batter. A slider is over for a strike. 18,144. The paid crowd here at Veterans Stadium tonight. 1 strike, the count on Boone. Next pitch on the way. Bob swings and chops one off the plate towards second. Howe will have just 1 play. It's to first, and both runners advance a base. Boone is out at first, with Hebner moving over to third and Maddox to second on the ground ball. And a pinch hitter getting ready to come out for Jim Morrison. It's Jay Johnstone, the Jaybird, who does not yet have a hit this year. But, of course, he is a good hitter, and Danny Ozark showing his confidence in Jay, who is 0 for 10, sending him out as a pinch hitter. Johnstone to bat for Morrison. Well, last year, Jay batted .284 for the Phillies, had 15 home runs, and tied his career best with 59 runs batted in. Jay was the Phillies' top pinch hitter last year with a .357 average. Runners at second and third. Johnstone is a pinch hitter. Here's the pitch to him. It's high and outside, ball 1. Phil's pitcher, Warren Brewster, is out on the on-deck circle, but if Jay does something, I doubt he'll bat. Pitch to Jay is a pop-up, but it's foul out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike. Boston leads Kansas City 4-2. They've gone to the 9th inning in that one. Astros lead this game 5-1. Here's the pitch to Johnstone. Low, a ball, and it was in the dirt. Ferguson did a good job of stopping it. Ron Reed is starting to warm up for the Phillies in case they pinch hit for Brewster. 2-1 the count to left-handed batting Jay Johnstone. Pinch hitting for second baseman Jim Morrison. Richard has the sign. Here's the pitch to Jaybird. Ground ball toward first base. Watson has it. He will use Richard covering the bag, and it's in time for the out. And the threat is over for the Phillies in the 7th. No runs, no hits, and 2 men left on base. At the end of 7, Houston leads 5-1, and now time for a tasty break.
True Blue Phillies fans already know there never was a better baseball team than those fantastic Phillies. Just like True Blue pie fans know there never was a better tasting packaged pie than Tasty Cake pies. Try an apple, a cherry, a peach, or blueberry, and discover the tantalizing taste of Tasty Cake pies. They're all the good things wrapped up in one.
Tasty Cake is a world of fun. All the good things wrapped up in one.
Time was, station wagons only came in one size, big, and if you wanted good mileage, you were out of luck. Well, Ari gives you your money's worth of room and mileage of 25 in the highway, 18 in the city. That's an EPA estimate for a wagon with 225, 1-barrel engine, and manual transmission. Your mileage may differ. And also has the high resale value you're looking for. No wonder Valari's been the #1 selling wagon in America over the past 2 years. It gives you your money's worth when you buy and when you sell. See it today at your local Chrysler Plymouth dealer.
Well, we've been talking about the windup of this series and the Reds coming in for 4 big ones. Remember that Sunday afternoon when the Reds play the Phillies at 1:35, Larry Christensen against Tom Hume. It's free ladies' canvas tote bags, compliments of the Phillies and Tasty Cake for all women, no matter what your age. So be sure and come out Sunday afternoon when the Phillies complete their 4-game series against the Cincinnati Reds. Buddy Harrelson has moved into play at second base for the Phillies. Let's go to the 8th inning now, and for play-by-play, here's Harry Callis.
All right, thank you, Andy. Cesar Cedeno leading off for Houston. He is homered, grounded out, and tripled. He started the 4-run 7th inning for the Astros, who lead it 5-1. Pitch to Cedeno, swing. He chased a low sinker, 1 strike to Cesar Cedeno. Cedeno to be followed by Jose Cruz, and then Bob Watson. Houston leading at 5-1 behind big J.R. Richard, who's given the Phils but 2 hits. Homer by Bake McBride and an infield single by Larry Boa. Here's Brewster's 1-strike pitch. Swing and a line shot right center field. Maddox a long run. He's there and makes the catch. Cedeno is out, 1 down. We'll bring up Jose Cruz. He is grounded out, lined out to left, and grounded out on a fine play by Jim Morrison. Brewster's pitch to Cruz is low for a ball. 6th inning at Cincinnati. The Mets lead the Reds 5-4 in the 6th. Pitch on the way to Cruz is bounced foul out of play. Second game of the doubleheader at Atlanta. The Braves lead Montreal 2-1 there in the 5th. Atlanta won the first one 3-2 with a 2-run 9th. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Cruz. Swing, a half-hearted swing at a good breaking ball. Ball and 2 strikes to Cruz. Rest of the action in the National League on the coast. St. Louis at Los Angeles, Chicago at San Diego, Pittsburgh at San Francisco. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Cruz goes down swinging. First strikeout for Brewster. That's 2 down in the 8th, and that'll bring up Bob Watson. Watson is 1 out of 3. He is struck out, flied to deep right, and picked up an infield single to knock in the go-ahead run for Houston. Here's the pitch to Watson. Bouncing ball up the middle. Larry Boa behind second, gloves and throws, and Watson is out. 1, 2, 3 go the Astros in the 8th. No runs, hits or errors, and none left. We move to the bottom of the 8th. It's Houston 5, Phillies 1.
Great in any year. MAB Paints. When you paint, get the paint that lasts longer. MAB. It gives you more years per gallon. And great in 78 is what people will be saying about the Phillies. MAB has Phillies Great in 78 bumper stickers. And you could win 2 tickets to a Phillies game if one of the MAB spotters sees the Phillies bumper sticker on your car. To get your free Phillies bumper sticker, visit the nearest MAB paint store, dealer, or Rich Lux Home Center in your neighborhood.
I'm a PhD in economics, right? I run around to 3 stores to buy food, so I save $1 here, $1 there, and yet I let $200 sit in my checking account where it doesn't earn a cent. No more. Now I use the George machine at Girard Bank to move money from my savings to my checking account only when I need it. With George, I push the buttons and I'm the brains behind the bank. That's got to make me the smartest banker in town.
George lets you be the banker. Girard Bank. We're there when you need us.
You make it mean something no matter where we are. Just sharing in a cold along the highway. Right a little more.
Tim McCarver is going to lead off for the Phillies bottom half of the 8th inning, pinch hitting for Warren Brewster. Carver batting .313. He's 5 for 16, 1 extra base hit, a double. Looking at J.R. Richard. Richard has struck out 9, walked 4. The pitch to McCarver is a fastball over for a strike call. 1 strike to pinch hitter Tim McCarver. He'll be followed by Bake McBride. Pitch on the way to Tim, swinging a foul straight back, and Richard in front of him, 0-2. Toronto has defeated Oakland 4-0, a 5-hit shutout by Tom Underwood. He was the winner, and Pete Broberg took the loss. 0-2 the count to McCarver, leading off the Phillies' 8th. Phils trail 5-1. Pitch to Tim, fastball low, and it's a ball and 2 strikes. Only 1 pitcher this year has pitched a complete game against the Phillies. That, of course, was Bob Forsch, who no-hit the Phils. 1-2 pitch. It's low for a ball. It's 2-2. Houston also trying to snap a losing streak here at Veterans Stadium. They have lost 8 in a row here. Lost all 6 here last year. 2-2 to McCarver, who tires a waiting and steps out. J.R. Richard ready. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Strike 3 called. Struck him out. McCarver knew it. Fastball on the outside corner. Strikeout number 10 for Richard. 1 down in the 8th. That'll bring up Bake McBride. He was twice struck out and hit an opposite field home run, accounting for the Phillies' only run. Lined up by Richard. Here's the pitch to Bake. Fastball high for a ball. .1-0 pitch to Bake. Over for a strike call. The National League high for strikeouts by a pitcher in a game this year is 11. Twice by J.R. Richard. Once by Vida Blue and once by Steve Rogers. 1-1 pitch. Bake, a high bounding ball off the top of the glove of Watson. Picked up by Howe to Richard, not in time. Was off the tip of the glove of Bob Watson. Bareheaded by Howe on a nice play, and Richard was over there in a hurry, but Bake McBride legged it out for an infield single.
Well, that was going to be a close play if Richard had held the ball. Howe did make a fine play. Watson changed directions on the ball, right at Howe, but Richard dropped the ball. Bake will get the infield single, his second hit of the game.
Only the Phillies' third hit off Richard. Larry Boa, who's in the batter's box now, has the other one. He has an infield single, is grounded out and walked. McBride at first base and 1 out. Here's Richard's pitch to Boa. Fastball low for a ball. First base and 1 out. Here's Richard's pitch to Boa. Fastball low for a ball. 5-1 Houston, bottom half of the 8th inning. Richard stretches. Pitch to Boa. Over for a strike called. It's 1-1. J.R. Richard has pitched 2 complete games this year. One of them was shutout against the Dodgers, a 2-hitter. There's a big guy's stretching pitch. Low for a ball. It's 2-1. Mike Schmidt waiting on deck. Bake McBride first base and 1 out. Richard a throw to first base. Bake McBride back in plenty of time. Joe Sambito, a left-hander, and Tom Dixon, a right-hander, up in Houston's bullpen. The 2-1 pitch to Boa. Swing and a pop-up, playable, foul down the third base side. Enos Cabell is there and squeezes it for out number 2. Boa fouls out to Cabell. As Mike Schmidt comes up, we'll pause for station identification along the Phil's Baseball Network.
This is News Radio in the Delaware Valley. KYW 1060 Philadelphia across the street at the Spectrum. The Bruins on top of the Flyers, 3-1 at the end of the second period.
Here's Mike Schmidt. Schmidt has nothing for 3. He is struck out, been safe on an error, and grounded out. Mets have added another run on Cincinnati in the 6th inning. New York leads the Reds 6-4, but Jerry Koosman has been taken out, and Marty Cornejo is in there now for New York in the 6th. Richards' pitch to Schmidt is over for a strike call. J.R. Richard with 10 strikeouts and 4 walks. Bake McBride at first base, 2 outs. Stretch by Richard. 1 strike pitch. Swing and a very high pop towards second base. Art Howe is right there. He waits, squeezes it, and the Phillies go down in the 8th. No runs a hit, no errors, and 1 left. After 8, it's Houston 5, Phillies 1. Plymouth Arrow gets great mileage, 39 on the highway, 29 in the city, and has a low sticker price, $38.41, excluding taxes and destination charges, and features like reclining buckets, tinted glass, and fold-down rear seat. So when you get a Plymouth Arrow, you get your money's worth. The mileage is an EPA estimate for a manual transmission Arrow with 1.6-liter engine. Your mileage may differ. Plymouth Arrow's great mileage, price, and features give you your money's worth. See it today at your local Chrysler Plymouth dealer.
Boy, it's really exciting being here at the Indy 500. What do they call this place?
The cafeteria.
Really?
You new here?
How can you tell?
You're wearing your racing helmet.
I'm practicing.
During lunch?
Practice makes perfect. Would you pass the salt?
Sure. So, what are you driving this year?
What do you think of that?
You're driving a piece of paper?
That's my Champion Indy 500 sweepstakes entry form. Oh. You can eat that roll.
Eventually.
Oh. Well, Champion has won at Indy 38 times, and this year they're giving me the chance to win with the winner. To be eligible, all I do is pick a winner and fill out the entry form.
I noticed you filled it out in crayon.
Mom won't let me have any sharp objects.
Put down that spoon, okay?
For the first time in the history of the Indy 500, you have a chance to share in the excitement of winning at Indy. Champion's Indy 500 sweepstakes. Anyone who is 16 or older is eligible to win prizes totaling $250,000 with a first prize of $25,000. No purchase necessary. Details and entry forms at participating Champion spark plug retailers. Offer void where prohibited by law.
Ron Reed, the Phillies' new pitcher in the ninth inning. Art Howe, the first one to face Reed, and the pitch to him, very high foul ball down the left field side, and that's backing out of play. One strike to count to Howe. Warren Brewster, a fine job, retired all 4 men that he faced, struck out 1, walked none. Houston leading 5-1. We're playing in the ninth inning. Howe is 1 for 3. Reed is appearing in his 9th game for the Phils. He's won none and lost none. He has saved 1. His earned run mark is 2.08. Here's the 1-strike pitch. Change is low and inside. It's 1-1. Ball on the strike to Howe. Reed's 1-1 pitch. Swing and a bouncing ball tapped to third. Mike Schmidt charges and throws. High throw, but gloved by Hebner, and Howe is out at first base. 1 down, that'll bring up Joe Ferguson. Ferguson has flied out to right, grounded out, and singled to knock in a run. Houston got 4 in the 7th. The Astros lead this game 5-1. Here's the pitch to Ferguson. Swing and a fly ball center field. Gary Maddox is right there, loping to his right a couple of steps, makes the catch. Ferguson's out on 1 pitch, 2 down. That'll bring up Roger Metzger, the shortstop. Metzger is 0 for 2. He has flied out to center, lined out to third, and was intentionally walked. Boston has defeated Kansas City 4-3 on Jim Rice's 2-run home run in the 7th. Made Dennis Eckersley a winner, Jim Colburn a loser, and for Rice, his 10th homer of the year. He leads the majors. Pitch is low to Metzger for a ball. 1-0 pitch to Roger Metzger. Bouncing ball to second base. Buddy Harrelson has it and throws. Metzger is out. Houston goes down 1-2-3 in the 9th. No runs, hits, or errors, and none left. We go to the bottom half of the 9th inning. Last chance for the Phils. The Astros lead the Phillies 5-1.
You've never seen such wonders.
All of Warren's 16 card and gift shops have friendly people waiting to give you personal attention. Select beautiful gifts at a leisurely pace for friends, family, or even for yourself. We gift wrap free at Warren's, where shopping is a pleasure.
You've never seen such wonders.
Warren's has a complete candle department, Hallmark cards, Hummel figurines, Monet jewelry, copper, brass, and fine wood products, imported lead crystal, gifts for all ages, wrapped free at the wonderful world of Warren's.
You've never seen such wonders.
Visit our Warren's card and gift shop in the Paola Shopping Center.
Bottom half of the 9th inning, the Phillies' last shot at J.R. Richard. Phil's down 5-1. Richard has given up 3 hits, one of them a Bake McBride home run. The other 2 hits have been infield singles by Bake McBride and by Larry Boa. Greg Luzinski will be the first one to face J.R. in the ninth. Bull has struck out, walked, and flied out to center field. Luzinski to be followed by Richie Hebner, and then Gary Maddox. Here's the windup by Richard, and the pitch to Luzinski is over for a strike called. The late innings, Richard is starting all the Philly hitters with fastballs, just trying to start them with a strike. 1 strike pitch. Breaking ball. He tried to check his swing. Did he? He did. As Nick Stello checks with Bruce Fremming. Fremming said no swing. Ball and a strike to count to Luzinski. Here's the pitch to the Bull. Swing and a high pop-up foul down the first base side. It's playable. Bob Watson fronting the stands makes the catch. So Luzinski is out. 1 down. That'll bring on Rich Hebner. Hebner is grounded out, flied out, and walked. Jeff Burroughs has just hit a 2-run home run at Atlanta to put the Braves in front of Montreal 4-1. His 3rd of the year. Game is in the 5th inning. Atlanta won the opener over the Expos 3-2 with a 2-run 9th inning. Here's Richards' pitch to Hebner, and it's high for a ball. 1-0 to Rich Hebner with 1 out. 1-0 pitch to him. Swing and a smash just foul down the first base side. Ball and a strike to Hebner. Richard trying to become the second pitcher in the National League this year to pitch a complete game against the Phils, joining St. Louis's Bob Forsch. Forsch pitched a no-hitter against the Phils. Ball and a strike to Richie Hebner. 1-1 pitch. Check swing, bouncing foul down the first base side. So Richard in front of Hebner, a ball and 2 strikes. Houston here again tomorrow night. It'll be Jim Lomborg against Mark Lemongello tomorrow night. Then the Cincinnati Reds move in on Thursday night for a big 4-game set. A good pitching matchup on Thursday night. It'll be Steve Carlton going against Tom Seaver. Big 4-game set with the Reds starting Thursday night. Plan to be on hand. They'll be on the Phil's radio and television network tomorrow night for the final game of this series. 1-2 to Rich Hebner. J.R. Richards' 1-2 pitch, a changeup, low for a ball. Richard doesn't throw too many of those. Tried one that was well out of the strike zone. 2-2 the count to Hebner. There's the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a ground foul back behind the plate. Stays 2-2 to Hebner with 1 out in the 9th inning. The Astros leading the Phils 5-1. J.R. Richard delivers 2-2. Strike 3 called. Struck him out. Strikeout number 11 for J.R. Richard. Ties a National League high. He has done it now 3 times. Vida Blue once and Steve Rogers once. Here's Gary Maddox. He has twice struck out and has walked. Richard boosts his league-leading strikeout total for the season to 57. Maddox a drive left center field. Way back goes Cedeno. Diving effort. Can't get it. Maddox on his way to second base, and he's in standing with a double. So Gary Maddox picks up the Phillies' 4th hit off Richard, a double to left center field. And with 2 outs, it'll bring up Bob Boone. Boone is 0 for 3, has flied out twice, and is grounded out. Boone, according to the latest stats released by Ed Fetterplace, is leading the National League in game-winning runs batted in with 5. American League leader is Oakland's Gary Alexander, who has 6 of them coming on homers. Gary Maddox at second base and 2 outs. Stretch by Richard. And the pitch to Boone. Swing and a high fly ball. Should be the ball game. Shallow left. Terry Poole coming in. Makes the catch. And J.R. Richard is down the Phils by a score of 5-1. Only the second pitcher this season to pitch a complete game against the Phillies. And it snaps the Phillies' winning scheme. No runs and a hit. No errors and 1 left in the 9th. Houston winning at 5-1. We'll be back with the final totals and a wrap right after this.
Cotman Transmission wants you to keep your car. When you bring your car to the Cotman man, he'll road test and visually inspect the entire machine, from the front radiator to the rear axle. If the problem is not in the automatic transmission, he'll tell you where the problem is, in clear, simple terms. If the problem is the automatic transmission, he'll tell you that, too, in clear, simple terms, before you leave your car. These services are free, of course. Free towing, free road test, free visual inspection, free advice. That's why Cotman has grown throughout the United States and Canada. Wherever you find people who care about their cars, that's where you'll find Cotman Transmission. Cotman. We fix transmissions because we know how.
For the leaders in preventive maintenance, check your local yellow pages for the Cotman man near you.
Well, Houston winning over the Phils tonight by a score of 5-1, thanks to the strong pitching of big J.R. Richard, who struck out 11 and held the Phils to just 4 hits. Only the second pitcher in the National League this year to pitch a complete game against the Phillies. Houston got a lot of their offense from Cesar Cedeno, who homered and tripled and started the Astros' 4-run 7th inning. It also snaps a streak for the Astros, who had lost 8 straight here at Veterans Stadium. Coming into the game tonight, they lost all 6 here last year, but J.R. Richard put a halt to that. Here are the final totals for winning Houston: 5 runs, 6 hits, 1 error, 3 left. Phillies had 1 run, 4 hits, 1 error, 6 left. The win goes to Richard. He is now 2-3 in the loss to Larry Christensen. He is also 2-3. Stay tuned for the Tasty Cake wrap-up show. We'll be talking to Houston pitcher J.R. Richard as our star of the game. Dave Toy has been our engineer for tonight's game. Our executive producer, Steve Silverman. Phillies baseball is a presentation of the Philadelphia Phillies. For Rich Ashburn and Andy Musser, Harry Callis saying thanks for listening. Final score again was Houston 5 and the Phils 1, and this is the Phillies Baseball Network.
Have you got the Phillies? Catch 'em again by W. Catch 'em again by W.
Phillies baseball has been sponsored in part by Tasty Cake, whose cakes, pies, and cookies give you over 30 delicious ways to take a tasty break. Tasty Cake, all the good things wrapped up in one. And by your Coca-Cola bottler, who reminds you that Coke adds life to baseball and all your favorite sports. Enjoy it often. By Girard Bank, where George lets you be the banker night and day, every day. And by the people with the all-star lineup this season, your local Lincoln Mercury dealers. By Anheuser-Busch, brewers of Budweiser, the king of beers. There's no better way to relax than with the easy taste of Budweiser. And by Geno's, where you get the 100% sirloiner, Kentucky Fried Chicken, crispy fish, and make-it-yourself salad. You'll be feeling good at Geno's. By your local Chrysler Plymouth dealer, where you get Grand Slam deals on the most complete lineup of new cars in your area.
This is News Radio in the Delaware Valley, KYW Philadelphia 1060. The top story at this hour, the removal of the barricades surrounding the MOVE compound in West Philadelphia. It's the end of a long day at the MOVE compound. Police have completed an inspection of the compound. Going through the house with a metal detector, no additional weapons have been found. Earlier in the day, MOVE had surrendered a number of weapons to police as part of the agreement with the city. Following the inspection, the police barricade erected 2 months ago was dismantled.
The look that's love is out of sight. Two together, all right.
Glah Brothers, a love company for the look that's love with the feel of elegance. Come to any of the 20 Glah Brothers or 13 Sears stores featuring Glah Brothers formal wear. Glah offers the very latest in After 6 and Palm Beach formals, sizes 4 to 64, jade green to bamboo beige, from Canton blue to silver gray. Now, with a wedding party of 5 or more, Glah provides a free tuxedo rental for the groom. At Glah, your men's formal is guaranteed to fit perfectly and be ready on time. Glah Brothers, a love company for the look that's love.
Super. Dynamite. The look that's love.
And now Tasty Cake is proud to present the Tasty Cake Wrap-Up Show with facts and figures of tonight's game and an exclusive interview with the star of the game. So grab a Tasty Cake. There are more than 30 delicious kinds to choose from. Relax in your easy chair and get into the 1978 baseball season with Tasty Cake and the Phillies. All the good things wrapped up in one.
Tasty Cake is a world of fun. It's all the good things wrapped up in one.
Back at Veterans Stadium, where the Houston Astros have defeated the Phils by a score of 5-1. The Phillies probably will not lose too much ground, however, in that Montreal was in second place in National League East. And coming into play, they were a game behind the Phils. The Expos are on their way to losing a doubleheader at Atlanta. So the Phillies might even possibly pick up a half game over second-place Montreal, even with the loss. A brilliant performance tonight by J.R. Richard. He struck out 11 the third time this season. He has punched out 11. That's high in the National League. He joins Vida Blue and Steve Rogers with 11 strikeouts in a game for the National League high this year. The only run off him, a home run by Bake McBride, and Houston got 4 big ones in the 7th inning, and that proved to be the difference as the Astros won it by a score of 5-1. Cesar Cedeno got things going after Larry Christensen got the first 2 men out in the first inning. Cesar Cedeno came to the plate.
Line shot to deep left center field, and this ball is out of here. Home run, Cesar Cedeno over the 371-foot mark. Houston takes a 1-0 lead on Cedeno's 4th homer of the year.
So Cedeno put Houston up 1-0. Meanwhile, J.R. Richard was mowing the Phillies down. He had 7 strikeouts through the first 3 innings, picked up his 8th in the 5th, his 9th in the 6th against Larry Christensen, and with 1 out in the 6th inning, the score 1-0. Bake McBride came to the plate.
McBride, fly ball, left field, hit deep. It is a home run. Oh, boy. An opposite field home run by Bake McBride right down the foul line. And this game is tied at 1-1.
And that was about all the Phillies could get out of J.R. Richard tonight, as Bake McBride also collected another hit, an infield single. But Richard only gave up 4 hits. Larry Boy had an infield single, and Gary Maddox a 9th inning double, and that was it. Houston really wrapped it up in the 7th inning when the Astros led off with a triple by Cesar Cedeno. After Jose Cruz hit a hard ground ball and a fine play by Jim Morrison was thrown out, Bob Watson singled to knock in Cedeno with a go-ahead run that made it 2-1. Then Art Howe got a base hit, putting runners at first and third. Joe Ferguson singled in a run, and Roger Metzger was intentionally walked to load the bases. Pitcher J.R. Richard lined out for out number 2, and that brought to the plate left fielder Terry Poole.
Christensen winds, pitch on the way to Poole, hard hit ball back through the middle. It's a base hit. Here's 1 run in. Here comes Ferguson heading for the plate. The throw is onto the plate, but not in time, and the Astros have added 2 more runs to lead the ball game 5-1.
And that was all the scoring as Houston won it by a score of 5-1. J.R. Richard had a little bit of unfinished business in the 9th inning. With 1 out in the 9th inning, he already had recorded 10 strikeouts, and Richie Hebner was at the plate, and here's what happened.
J.R. Richard delivers 2-2. Strike 3 called, struck him out. Strikeout number 11 for J.R. Richard. Ties a National League high. He has done it now 3 times. Vida Blue once, and Steve Rogers once.
So J.R. Richard, who leads the National League now in strikeouts with 57, recorded 11 of them tonight. He walked 4 and won the ball game by a score of 5-1. J.R. was to be our star of the game, but I don't see him down there. J.R., are you down there? Evidently not. So we were supposed to talk to J.R., but evidently somehow the signals got crossed up. He is not down there. We will be checking the Major League scoreboard for you in a moment. The final of this one was 5-1, and now it's time for a tasty break.
Tasty cake is a day in spring, a brand new love or a golden ring. Tasty cake is the morning sun. It's all the good things wrapped up in one. Tasty cake is a deep blue sea, a song they're singing for you and me. Tasty cake is a world of fun. It's all the good things wrapped up in one.
Those Phillies are working hard to bring home their third straight Eastern Division championship and their first National League pennant in 28 years. Tasty Cake is working hard, too, because this year, as in the past, Tasty Cake will continue to be the champs when it comes to making delicious cake, like the all-time favorite taste of butterscotch, jelly, or lemon cream-filled crimpets. 3 delicious ways to bring home a family pack of fun. Tasty Cake crimpets, all the good things wrapped up in one.
Tasty cake is a world of fun. It's all the good things wrapped up in one.
Back at Veterans Stadium, let's check the Major League scoreboard now. As we mentioned, the Phillies still might gain ground even by losing. Montreal is losing a doubleheader at Atlanta. The Atlanta Braves scored 2 runs in the 9th inning to defeat Montreal 3-2, game 1 of their twin bill. It made Chopper Campbell the winner and Bill Atkinson the loser. In that game, Andre Dawson hit a home run for Montreal, his 6th of the year. In the second game, Atlanta leads that one 4-1 behind Phil Niekro. They're now in the bottom of the 6th. Jeff Burrows, a red-hot hitter for the Atlanta Braves, hit his 3rd home run of the year in the 5th with a made on. Hal Dews started for Montreal, and Stan Bonson is in there now. New York at Cincinnati, they're having a slugfest. After 6, the New York Mets are leading Cincinnati by a score of 6-5. Neither started around. Jerry Koosman started for the Mets. Marty Cornejo in there now. Tom Hume started for Cincinnati, and Manny Sarmiento now pitching. The rest of the games in the National League all will be on the coast. Chicago at San Diego, St. Louis at Los Angeles, and Pittsburgh at San Francisco later on, starting very shortly. In the American League, Toronto defeated Oakland by a score of 4-0. Tom Underwood got the win. His first of the year. It was a 5-hit shutout for Undy. Pete Broberg took the loss. Boston got another home run from Jim Rice. He leads the majors, his 10th of the year. It was a game winner in the 7th inning. It made the Red Sox a 4-3 winner over Kansas City. Dennis Eckersley got the win, and the loss went to Jim Colbert. Earlier, Kansas City got a home run from Amos Otis, his 4th of the year. That tied the ball game, but it tied it very briefly as Jim Rice untied it in the bottom half of the 7th inning, and Boston won at 4-3. Red Sox have been playing hot baseball in Fenway Park. The end of 8 at Cleveland. Cleveland and Seattle are tied 4-4. They're now in the 9th inning with Seattle batting in the 9th. Byron McLaughlin started for Seattle. He's no longer in there. And Don Hood started for Cleveland. Jim Kern now in for Cleveland. New York leads Minnesota by a score of 3-0. They're through 6 at New York. Catfish Hunter started. Sparky Lyle coming out in the 7th. A couple of New York home runs, one by Greg Nettles, his 4th of the year, one by Reggie Jackson, number 6. The game at Cincinnati now is in the bottom half of the 7th inning. Skip Lockwood has come in to pitch for the New York Mets in the bottom of the 7th, and the Mets lead Cincinnati 6-5. That's now in the bottom of the 7th. California at Detroit. Frank Tanana's going out for his 6th win of the year. He's 5-1, and California leads that game 5-2 at the end of 6 at Detroit. Don Baylor hit a home run for California, as did Tony Salida. And for Detroit, John Wackenfuss hit his 1st home run of the year. Jim Slayton started for the Tigers. He is no longer in there. Jim Crawford coming on in the 6th inning. Texas 2 and Milwaukee 1 at the end of 5. Ferguson Jenkins for Texas and Mike Caldwell from Milwaukee. Milwaukee's run coming on a home run by Sixto Lexcano, his 4th of the year. The Atlanta Braves have added another run, and after 6 at Atlanta, they lead at Montreal by a score of 5-1. So the Braves on their way to a doubleheader sweep, which would put the Phillies a game and a half in front of second place Montreal in National League East, despite the loss tonight here at Veterans Stadium to Houston by a count of 5-1. Chicago and Baltimore scheduled to play at Baltimore. That game was postponed because of wet grounds. Well, tomorrow night, the second game of the series will be on both the Phillies radio and television network tomorrow night. Going for the Phils will be Jim Lomborg, and on the mound for the Houston Astros, it'll be Mark Lemongello. Hope you can make it out to the ballpark. If not, our airtime tomorrow night will be 7:15 for the pregame show. And then remember, the Cincinnati Reds will be moving in for a big 4-game series starting on Thursday night. Thursday night, it'll be a great pitching matchup. Steve Carlton and Tom Seaver again, as they squared off at Riverfront Stadium earlier. And Bill Bonham is going to come back for Cincinnati on Friday. He has been out for quite some time with an elbow problem, but Bonham is going to pitch on Friday for the Cincinnati Reds. He'll be opposed by Randy Lurch. Cincinnati also in on Saturday night at 7:35 and Sunday afternoon at 1:35. And Sunday afternoon, all women will get a Phillies canvas tote bag, courtesy of the Phillies and Tasty Cake. Pitching matchups for Saturday night will find Fred Norman going for the Cincinnati Reds against Jim Cott for the Phils. And on Sunday afternoon, Larry Christensen goes against Tom Hume. Here at Veterans Stadium tonight, it was a case of J.R. Richard and Cesar Cedeno as the improved Houston Astros down the Phillies by a score of 5-1. J.R. Richard punching out 11 and going the distance. Only the second pitcher this year that has gone the distance against the Phils, joining Bob Forsch, who, of course, no-hit the Phils at St. Louis. Richard struck out 11. He walked 4. Cedeno hit a home run and a triple. And Cesar off to a good start after the tough start he had last year. Last year, as of June 22nd, he was hitting only 179, but Cedeno is off and moving. And this Houston team is an improved ball club and a team that is liable to give Cincinnati and Los Angeles something to think about at any rate. And many people say that the National League West is a two-horse race, but I think Houston might be able to make some noise. They have a pretty solid lineup top to bottom. At the end of 7 now in Cincinnati, it's still New York 6 and Cincinnati 5. They move to the 8th inning in Cincinnati with the Mets leading by a run 6-5. In a Yankee Stadium, they are having a rain delay now in the 7th inning with the New York Yankees leading Minnesota by a score of 3-0. Final here once again was 5-1 in favor of the Houston Astros behind J.R. Richard. Tomorrow night it'll be Mark Lemongello and Jim Lombard. Hope you can make it out. If not, our broadcast time for the pregame show, 7:15. Dave Toy has been our engineer for tonight's game. Our executive producer is Steve Silverman. Final 5-1 Houston, and we'll see you tomorrow night. This is the Phillies Baseball Network.
Hope you've enjoyed tonight's Tasty Cake wrap-up show. Tune in after the next Phillies game when Tasty Cake once again wraps up facts and figures of the game, interviews the star of the game, and gives you the inside scoop on the Phillies as the 1978 baseball season rolls along. Tasty Cake and the Phillies. They're all the good things wrapped up in one.
Tasty Cake is a world of fun. It's all the good things wrapped up in one.